Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fall Nationals. We are here to bring you the start of the championship brackets alongside my co-host, Tails. I am Box Turtle. How you doing today, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. We're back on the casting desk once again for 2 nights in a row. You get the Tails Turtle duo.
They can't get enough of us.
I know. I mean, that's why we're still casting again and no one else is, because chat's just like, we want this, we want this. And
it's definitely nobody else wants to do it, but definitely not that.
Oh, man, producing every night of the week. That's so fun.
But nevertheless, we are here to bring you some more amazing Rocket League. So how tonight is going to work is this is the start of our championship bracket for November. The top 4 teams from this series are going to qualify for the Winter Major at the end of our 3-season split. Sorry, I said November, didn't I? It's October. October is the season we're in. The month
far
we're in.
ahead.
2020 is long. This is the end of the October season. So the top 4 teams are going to qualify for the final Winter Major in December. So we are obviously, of course, going to be having our eye on exactly who is going to come out on top. There are some familiar faces, and of course, the league has doubled in size from last month. So we have a bunch of new faces as well. I'm excited to see exactly how things are going to shake out with all these teams that we have in this league.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to see what this final bracket is going to give us. We have about 35 of the teams here ready to go, double elimination over the next 2 nights, right? So we're going to get all the way to the top 12 at the end of tonight, and then tomorrow those final 12 teams will play the rest of the bracket out. And we will crown a champion alongside with those top 4 teams, like you said, automatically qualifying for the December Major, which will be 4 teams from the 3 splits, September, October, and November, for a culminating great event where a bunch of collegiate recruiters will be active. But speaking of recruiting, tell me a bit, why are we putting on Fall Nationals? Kind of what's the purpose for these players to be participating? Because hint, there's no cash prize.
Yeah, so completely free to entry. There is no prize pool for these tournaments. The entire goal is that, of course, we wanted to provide a healthy, competitive environment for students in high school to partake in for Rocket League, for Fall Nationals, and Winter Breach, which is Rainbow Six Siege. But we were also help developing all those other skill sets and accessory pieces that colleges look for. With the entire goal, our entire mission is to help connect high school players that are very successful in their game to collegiate programs looking to bring them on scholarship. That is our entire goal with this. That is why we are doing what we are doing, and that is why it is free to entry with no prize pool. The prize pool is the opportunity to go to college, and of course it's free entry because, you know, we don't like barriers to entry. We want this to be as open to as many people as possible. So if you like what you see tonight and you want to be a part of this, you can go to espin.gg, or one of our moderators will be periodically putting the registration link in there for our November season. So we're super excited about what we've built. We're super excited to bring you more Rocket League tonight, and we're super excited that if you want to join us for November, that we get to see a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's never too late, right? There's 4 teams qualifying from this month, already 4 teams from last month, but go ahead, sign up, get in here, play, and get one of those top 4 spots, and you automatically qualify for the Fall Major in December. So super awesome stuff. But getting into our first match today, we have Typhlosion versus Snob. Really exciting. These are 2 of our B division teams. So tell me a little bit about these 2 teams, Gray.
Yeah, a couple seniors round out, these rosters. We have Retro Taz, we have One Tap Steven, we have Nix. A very talented roster. They have seen each other before in group play. Snom did take down Typhlosion in a sweep of their series. They won 2-0. Of course, Typhlosion is going to be looking to get a little bit of revenge of their own in this best-of-3 series. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very interesting matchup because on paper, these 2 teams are relatively similar. We do have some, I believe, some division standings to take you through as well with these teams. We'll kind of break down some of those and get you guys set up where you need to be in terms of how each team is matching up on paper versus their records. First up, I think we have Division A, if I'm not mistaken. Division A is coming up to you right now. So there's the breakdown of that coming onto screen. As you can see, Mewtwo and Slowpoke Arceus are going to round out that, followed by Weezing, Magikarp, and Psyduck. Super powerful team. We saw Dragonite is one of our qualifying teams from last season, and they're currently in 7th in their division, if that gives you any indication on the level of talent that exists on these teams. Going back down to our B division, which is where, of course, we do see Typhlosion and Snom. Those 2 teams are going to round out somewhere in the middle of the pack there. They're neck and neck. Typhlosion is, of course, a little bit better in terms of round differential, but we've seen Wailord before, Snorlax. Onyx had an incredible run through our series in September, so super excited that they're back as well, rounding out, of course, Tauros, Unknown X, and down there at the bottom. And then for Division C, We do have, a bunch of tightly contested races is the common theme that we're seeing through a lot of this division play with a lot of these teams. But, that is going to be Miss Drevis and Mudkip rounding out the top of that. And, of course, some familiar faces in there with Pidgeot and Yvetal, which is, of course, a new team, but a couple returning players as well. And then, of course, lastly is Division D. So 40 total teams throughout all of these leagues, and that is going to be rounded up by Charizard there at the top, everybody's favorite Pokemon. But ultimately, as you can see from a lot of those division standings, they're pretty level across the board, which, of course, is going to be a big indicator of what we're going to see in tonight's match, where we're entering in with such a tightly contested game that it's really going to be fun to see exactly who comes out on top, because we have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. On paper, like you said, they're very even. They're both 4 and 5, with the only real difference being one single game out of their 9 matches played, separating them to divide them up from that 6 to 7 seed, or they're one apart. So super excited to see a super even match here. Hopefully we get to go to all 3 games. I believe we have everyone in the lobby, so we are going to get started here in just a few seconds. But as we start this game up, what's your prediction?
I'm a big fan of the revenge story. I think Typhlosion's going to take it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Snom, so I'm going to go with Snom. They got the sweep last time. I really don't think they've gotten any worse significantly, so I think, might be a 2-1.
Yep.
But I think Snom's going to pull it off in the end. And here we go. We do have players loading into the arena right now, so we shall see kickoff shortly, but I'm super excited. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely super excited. You are going to be seeing Typhlosion on that blue side, and Snom is going to be rounding out the orange team. Both of these teams going to be looking to make a run deep into the playoffs here as this kicks off, but we are underway with match 1 of the evening. If you are just joining us, this is the first match of the night for the final bracket for the October season of Fall Nationals. These are 2 Division B teams, so they are absolutely in the contest for finishing in one of those top 4 qualifying spots, but of course only one of them is going to be able to take away this match, as we do see One Tap Steven going to be looking to make it clear, not quite to the touch you're maybe looking for there, and the shot comes on, but Blurry is there to push that one away.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just seeing some real basic Rocket League going here, some good rotations, some decent attacks going. I think both teams are still in that stage of trying to feel out each other. As we a shot come out from Blurry, and he does score. Just as they say, some really basic Rocket League, they kind of forget to rotate here and play some defense. I don't think Nick's I think Nick's did expect to get more of that ball than he ended up getting. But Blurry does put that away quite quickly, and Typhlosion takes the early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, when you're talking about Rocket League at this level, it really does come down to which team is able to minimize as many of the mistakes as possible, and which team is going to be able to capitalize on the other team's mistakes. Very rarely are you going to see a perfect game played by anybody at any level, right? Goals are always scored. You win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, making it deep into this bracket is going to come down to which team is going to make the fewest mistakes. We do see the mistake come out there, and Blurry is able to punish that, as you said, to be able to make this a 1-0 game. But as we're approaching here, the first 60 seconds has passed, and I think we've kind of passed the point now where these 2 teams are trying to figure each other out and see exactly what needs to happen and how they need to approach it. Dolphin Man going for the ceiling shot, rocking the new Battle Bus, basically a tall octane hitbox. Little OP depending on who you asked, but nonetheless, it is still exciting to see. It's definitely a meme. Retro Taz, of course, one of our seniors for this evening, getting a hot demo there as Dolphin Man and Blurry get a couple of their own. He's looking for that wall touch there. Didn't quite get it just to the left of the scoreboard. And so far, we're seeing a little bit of balanced play, right? This Snom team is able to bounce back, get some more rotations of their own, put some pressure on of their own as well. But Typhlosion, of course, really good with those counterattacks. And so far, we're still seeing an even match despite that 1-0 scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a pretty even match. I think I will give the edge to Typhlosion, not because of the scoreline necessarily. I think their attacks are just a little stronger right now. When you see Snom sit in defense right now, from what I'm noticing, they're kind of being stagnant in their own net. I'm not seeing a lot of movement. They're losing, I think, just a touch more 50s than Typhlosion is. As we see a shot come out from Dolphin Man and a good save from Blurry, and the follow-ups from Aiz does put it away, and we are even on the scoreline now.
Yeah, excellent shot there. Blurry trying to get that clear off for the pinch. One Tap is able to get that off, but the angle comes out in the battle bus to sink that one off the assist from Nyx there to tie us up. We are approaching the halfway point, and as we would expect from two teams that are this level on paper, we are still seeing an even 1-1 match here in this early contest and the first match of this evening. So exactly what you want to see. These two teams are going to have very similar seeding, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly who comes out on top of this. But moreover, this game is a lot about preparing for the rest of the bracket. You are going to see some tougher teams, especially as those mid-tier seed teams. The further you make it in the bracket, the closer you get to playing those top 3 seeds over the entire tournament. So this definitely is a preparation match for both teams. One Tap Steven able to get that touch out off the wall, but Blurry is there to prevent that pass from dropping down into the middle for Nyx. We see the one flick does come out, but A's is there to clear that one away. And so far, pretty heavy contest here from Snom, putting a lot of offensive pressure on. You're seeing them hold basically at that midfield line in their positioning, but the clear does come out here from Blurry. Looking for One Tap on the shot. Can he sink it? Ooh. Dolphin Man is there to push that one away.
Yeah, absolutely. The game's kind of flipped recently. Snom is clearly on a breakaway right here, and Nyx, I don't know how that happened. Had a clear breakaway there, and I think he hit the ball just a little too hard and got too far in front of him, and unfortunately was not able to redirect the ball inside the post. Does bounce off the post to unfortunately does not get the lead. But a good shot comes out here from Dolphin Man. Let's see if there's someone there to follow up. There is not. The ball is still rolling in the middle of the field. A decent pass here. Nope, not a pass. He's taking it himself, IEs. Now it looks like they're just trying to fake on people, maybe. But off the backboard goes IEs. The ball is dropping down. Let's see if someone is here to follow up. There is, and that is going to be a goal from Dolphin Man _RL to take the lead 2-1 with a minute left in this game number 1.
Great dunk there by Dolphin Man. I mean, One Tap looking to get maybe some ground pinch there to keep that underneath Dolphin Man there on the positioning, but a wonderful challenge. Phenomenally quick there to be able to get there. And Snob takes their first lead of the game. Like you said, we're seeing a lot of demos come out so far. This is a very aggressive play. So to see that one happen in such a close fashion on that 50 is not exactly what you would expect. But nonetheless, it does put them on top as we approach the final 45 seconds here. This Typhlosion team will need to make a pressure here within the next 20 to 25 seconds if they want to stay relevant and keep some momentum on their side. Of course, they are looking to take this to overtime at least to tie this back up on the board. Nyx going for the second shot again in the battle bus, but not quite there. A little bit of a weird clearance there as the Retro Taz is trying to clear it away. And again, another shot, but One Tap is there to clear that ball out into the corner. So far, this is, the last 2 minutes or so have been absolutely completely dominating from an offensive perspective by this Snom team. Retro Taz is going to be looking to get that touch. Does. Down to One Tap Steven, not quite able to drop that one into the net.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds left here. Blurry goes for a shot. It is cleared out. Nyx booms it down the field, and it looks like they are going to take the W here as long as they can save this shot. Now the question is, can they get the ball on the ground to stop the clock? Good save there from Dolphin Man. It does look like this game is going to end, and Snob takes the 1-0 game advantage after this first match here. And we're going to look at the stats here shortly. Here we go. Aiz and Dolphin Man with the 2 goals for Snom. A number of shots from all of them. They had 12 shots compared to Typhlosion's 9. Overall, those stats are pretty even to my eyes. There's like Retro Taz, one of our seniors, had a little bit of a slow game. It's going to be up to him to take, that leadership and seniority to that next level and bounce back to tie this match up as we go into game number 2.
Yeah, the scoreboard there isn't necessarily indicative of exactly how close this match was, right? These are two teams that clearly fought well and played well throughout the entirety of the match, and the scoreboard is, of course, reflective of that. That 2-1, I believe that is going to come from that one mistake that Nyx made on that attempted save. That Blurry did, or One Tap attempted that save, and Nyx was able to get there. Dolphin Man was able to get that shot in.
We're going to go through the other players in the entire game?
I'm just going to name all 6 people in this entire game.
And one of them is right. We know one of them is right.
One of them is right at least, so at least I'll be, mostly right. But, One Tap was trying to get that clear away off the post. Dolphin Man was able to sink that into that, that tight angle there on the left side of the post. So far what we've seen, I believe that Snom is playing slightly quicker, right? Mm-hmm. The speed is a very important factor when you get up to this higher level because that gives you enough space and time to be able to to make a lot of those split decisions that you need to be able to make inside of these games. And that's exactly what we saw from Snom, right? They were able to maintain that offensive pressure. The rotations were a little bit quicker. They were able to keep the ball at that half field and consistently rotate in and out to keep that pressure on. Typhlosion, we did see some wonderful attacking plays. And of course, One Tap was able to get 4 saves and 4 goals for his own. But what we didn't see is that same pace of play that we saw that was represented by Snom in that first match. But we are on to the second one here. Typhlosion is going to be looking to take a game back for themselves. Snom is going to be looking for their second sweep on Typhlosion. The shot comes out from Blurry early in this match. Retro Taz with a beautiful pass to take an early 10-second lead in this match.
Yeah, this is almost the exact same thing we saw last game number 1 of Typhlosion getting an early goal. I believe the last game they scored with about 420, and now we're at 450. So definitely earlier this time, but they're off to a quick start. Let's see if they can continue this momentum moving forward as One Tap Steph tries to play it off the ceiling here. Blurry with the follow off the blackboard. Can Retro finish this? Ooh, just wide. It's a tough save. And there it goes. Blurry scores off a really great team play here.
Blurry again with an absolutely incredible shot. Retro Taz just gets that touch to keep it in front of the net, sinks it into that bottom left corner away from eyes there, but excellent. I mean, that's the exact... Rocket League is a game all about momentum, right? The quicker you can move, the more you can keep that momentum up, the better off you will be. And that's exactly what we've seen so far in this series, mainly from Blurry on this team, right? We've seen some incredible passing plays. As that third shot does come in from One Tap, Retro Taz dropping dimes all over the place as we do see that third goal come out here in the first 30 seconds of this game. So exactly how you want to start for this Typhlosion side, looking to take a game back away from Snom. And that's how you want to battle back from a loss right there.
Absolutely. You know, coming out of the gate after a loss with a 3-0 early lead within 35 seconds is the ideal, really anything. It is awesome to see that. We do see a good attack coming out here from Snom. Unfortunately, they cannot put it in the back of the net as it drifts into the corner here. Looks like Nyx does put it back into the corner. No one's there to follow it up. They have a couple players in the midfield. A whiff there, seemingly. Poor touch by Ayes, but we do get a clearance back into the blue half. You know, it looks like Snom's playing a little timid right now. You know, I'm not sure what you feel, Gray, but this does not feel or look like the same Snom that we just saw win pretty commandingly in that game number 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I do think it's the same Snom team. I think this is a different Typhlosion team. What we've seen so far, as the second shot does come out from Blurry off the backboard, looking for that double touch, but not quite able to sink that one in. Retro Taz trying to get on the scoreboard himself instead of dropping an assist, but is not able to do it. You know, like I was saying, this is a very different Typhlosion team, not a different Snom team. We've seen similar rotation, similar pace of play from this Snom team, but we are seeing a very different offensive style from this Typhlosion side so far. They are overwhelming the Snom side of the field on their offensive possessions, which of course does leave them down on the man back for those late rotations, but it does give them the advantage of being able to put consistent and powerful shots on target, which is exactly what we've seen so far, and that's why we're at 3-0. If you are just joining us, this is the first series of the game. Snom, the orange team, does lead this Typhlosion side 1-0. Typhlosion, of course, making a run of their own right now as the passing play comes out. One Tap Steven with a beautiful pass there to Retro Taz, and that's exactly what we're talking about. That's what you want to see from this Typhlosion side, and if they keep playing like this will be a reverse sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look completely unstoppable right now, right? We are approaching that halftime mark, and they are up 4-0, and a lot of their goals are coming off great team play. Even their near misses, some of their team plays that just unfortunately don't end up in the back of the net, it still really is all about team play like we saw there. You know, it was a pass into the corner, centered back across net, and then finished pretty easily. I mean, I feel like most people that has any kind of experience Rocket League could finish off a pass so nice as the one that they just had.
Yeah, no, definitely. One Tap Steven looking for a little bit of a carry here. Does win the 50 to keep this up for his team, but pass does not land as Nyx is able to clear that ball away to the side there. We are approaching the final 2 minutes. This Snom side is looking to get a shot of their own on, and just off the post is Taz, not quite able to let that ball sink into the net. But again, Blurry is there. Taz again trying to get a shot off. Has dropped at least 3 or 4 assists in this game so far. Looking to get a goal of his own here. I'm super impressed with what we're seeing so far in this second game from Typhlosion. Retro Taz has been involved in every single, possession, both offensive and defensive for this team, as we do see another clearance come out here from Retro Taz. You know, I don't want to say it's the battle buses problem, but the battle buses are not doing very well right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They might go to a car switch shortly after this game because nothing is working right now. I mean, Snom looks kind of just dead in the water. Typhlosion is rotating quicker, playing faster generally, and just has more pressure all across, right? Their defensive pressure and their attacking pressure is unmatched right now. We do see a pretty good control here by Snom the last couple seconds. They are holding that ball in the Blues half and the attacking half. Let's see if they can finish this shot here. The shot was pretty weak, never really had a chance of going in from Dolphin Man, and now Typhlosion is on the counter here. Unfortunately, they do get beat in the midfield, but they get the ball right back. And Blurry looks like he's going to go for a little bit of an air carry, see if he can finish this. Oh my God. Oh, my God. He does not finish it. That ball was just hanging right in front of the goal for about 3 seconds, and no one on Typhlosion could get there quick enough before Snom does get that clearance. But here we go again. They do like they're on the counter. Blurry passes it to one of his teammates into the corner, and this looks like it's going to be a goal here
that
by
shot.
Retro Taz.
Oh my gosh.
That was fantastic.
Retro Taz, absolutely excellent ground shot there to bounce that over the defender just underneath the crossbar. Looking to get that goal the entire game, and finally does. I'm almost positive Retro Taz has been involved in every single of the 5 goals for his team so far. We are approaching the final 30 seconds. This does look like it will be a Typhlosion win to take the series back to 1-1. Of course, anything can happen, but most likely we are going to be seeing a Game 3 here in this matchup. Snom, of course, definitely going to be on the back foot, right? Yet to score a goal. If I was this Snom team, I would be looking for a goal here in the next 5 to 10 seconds, trying to gain a little bit of momentum back for your side. Make this a 5-1 game. Yes, it is still a loss, but you have the momentum and the most recent goal riding into that last game. That's exactly what you want to do here. But as we've seen, this Typhlosion side is completely overwhelming this Snom side on offense, and there's not a whole lot that you can do, especially not when Retro Taz is playing the way that he is, so heavily involved. But Typhlosion will take this. The series is tied back up at 1-1. I mean, excellent performance there from Typhlosion. And as you can see from the scoreboard, One Tap, Taz, and Blurry all hyper involved on every single side of the ball. Retro Taz, of course, dropping 3 assists. One Tap scoring goals, having assists, making saves. I mean, an incredibly impressive performance. And as you can see from the scoreboard there on the Snom side, that they were pretty much ruled out, right? We do see a couple shots and maybe a save or two come out, but a lot of their play style there was created, there's not a whole lot that they could do to overwhelm that Typhlosion side.
Absolutely. I mean, Retro is just absolutely oppressive that entire game. 2 goals, 3 assists, and 8 shots. That's insane. Like, those are really great stats, especially in a match as competitive as this is, and that does give his team a 5-0 victory for game number 2. And I'm excited to see what happens for game number 3. We're going to be going there shortly. Any predictions? Do you think Snom can kind of reset mentally and bounce back from a defeat that's this big?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this is a Typhlosion match all the way up and down. The only person for that Snom side that was really able to keep up in that match was Eyes, but ultimately, I think this is going to be a Typhlosion. If they play this game the exact same way that they played that game too, there's not anything that this Snom side is going to be able to do to mitigate any of the damage that this team is able to do. That being said, we are headed now into map number 3. One of these teams is going to be looking to take this away. Typhlosion, of course, looking for that reverse sweep. Snom trying to maintain their dominance of beating them before. But as we've seen so far, this is going to come down to those mistakes and apparently which team is faster, because right now Typhlosion is playing much, much, much faster, and they have the upper hand, looking to ride that momentum out into a victory here. And as we're seeing right off the bat, we do see the double touch come out there onto the backboard. Blurry is able to get the shot down, but it does hit the crossbar. Another shot comes in from Retro Taz. Very, very quickly saved there by Nix, but a great shot nonetheless. Putting that one on the backboard is Taz, looking for One Tap, not quite able to do so, but they are back ready to get that pinch away. As we see, this Snom side is pushing up with all 3 members, leaving them with not a lot back as the pass does come out, but nobody there to finish that ball in the net. Right off the bat here, I'm seeing a very similar presence here from this Typhlosion side. Maybe a little bit quicker from this Snom offense, but I say that as the shot comes out and saved from Retro Taz, and now Blurry is the only man there, just one man a beat, and Dolphin Man is not able to do that. Excellent clearance, and so far this is a game of pace. We are not seeing the same start to this game that we've seen in the last 2 matchups.
Absolutely. I mean, these players are just flying on the map, quite literally. They're continuously rotating, continuously moving with that dedicated speed. The last 2 games were much slower from a pacing standpoint. This team's like, hey, we're going full bore here. We're going to attack. This shot is on in one tap. Steph does get a goal to give Typhlosion that 1-0 lead at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left off a pretty good shot just over a defender and floated into that right underneath that crossbar.
If you have watched this stream before, you have most likely heard Bearlight say something along the lines of offense starts with defense, and that's exactly what he's talking about when he says that right there. Blurry is able to get the excellent clear up to his teammate in one-tap Steph, who all he has to do is one man to beat, just an easy flick over the top, as we see another pass come out from that defensive clearance. But, so much of this game is about momentum. The more speed and power you can carry with you from that defensive end into your offensive possession, the better off you will be, and that's what we've seen here so far in this game, as Typhlosion is still up 1-0 as we have now passed the 2-minute mark, just approaching the halfway point in this game, with Typhlosion still up, still commanding the power and the possession numbers here. There's just nothing that this Snom side can do right now.
Yeah, they're just, like you just said, it's like there's an iron curtain kind of at that halfway mark right now, and they just can't get out. And as we see, Typhlosion does get another goal. Blurry gets a shot off the backboard from Retro Taz, and he just puts it into the top corner, and it's really hard to defend that, as we both know. It's when you have such a good team play like that, it's about 3 passes and then off the backboard to finish. Typhlosion is just dominant right now. They kind of figured out where their mistakes were from game 1, dominant in game 2, and still dominating in game 3. But there's still enough time to come back for Snob if they get a goal here in the next minute or so. Like Rocket League, there could be 10 seconds left. If you're down by 2 goals, anything can happen.
Yeah, no, they definitely can. We are only approaching the halfway point here, just past that, just over 2 minutes remaining. It is a 2-0 game, and it kind of looks like it, to be completely honest. This is not close, as the shot or the save does come out there from Steph off the shot from Dolphin Man, as we see possession now flying back in. This right here, this possession is a little bit more indicative of what we've seen from the Snom side, both in this series so far and this season. They are maintaining that midfield possession. The last man back is just pushed up, looking for that third touch, but they have been able to keep 4 or 5 consistent offensive pushes in so far in this game, as we see this 5th come out, as Nyx is trying to beat one man here, but Retro Taz is 50ing that ball back over to the left-hand side. And so far, this is the type of play that you want to see from this Snom side. It's just going to come down to, is it a little too late?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think, even after a good couple attacks from Snom, they still look like they don't have enough control to get 2 goals here, and even that third to go ahead and win if they do get those 2 goals and make it to overtime. As we see another attack coming here, starting in the corner from Blurry, gets cleared by Aiz, and one-tap Steph is there to follow out. Looks like there's going to be a dunk down, and is this going to trickle in? It is. Great goal from Blurry there. I believe that was Blurry.
It was.
Yes, it was. There's an absolute great team play. Pass from off the top of the backboard from Retro, and Blurry's there to sink it over off a one skip over the defender into the back of the net. And here it is, 3-0. I'm going to call it. I'm honestly going to call it. I don't think Snom can come back. I think Typhlosion is clearly the better team right now. They weren't before, as they got swept during the regular season by the same team, being Snom. But right now, this is all Typhlosion, and it's kind of their world to lose.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that quite yet. There's still plenty of time. Everybody that's watching this has probably played a ranked game in some way, shape, or form with a crazy comeback, so I'm not going to call it necessarily quite yet, but you are correct in saying that this Typhlosion side does seem rather dominant right now. As we say that, a shot comes out off the pass there from Dolphin Man. Excellent redirect off the pass. Nyx is able to put that one up. Dolphin Man is going to hop off the wall and bounce that back down. Super quick touch there from Nyx, and right as I'm saying I'm not going to call it, a goal comes out with 40 seconds left. It is now just a 2-goal game remaining for these two sides, and that's the sign of life you want to see. Over the last 2 games, it is still an 8-1 goal deficit for this Snom side rather. Typhlosion is up 8-1 in terms of deficit in the last 2 games of this series. But, here we are. There's signs of life. They've scored the most recent goal. They will need to score their next one here, most likely before this 15-minute mark or 15-second mark. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, as we see some pressure coming out from this side. Blurry is trying to get that 50 out, not quite able to do so. This one might be trickling down here as we approach the final 10 seconds. This one is going to be bouncing close to the goal. But no, there's no way.
Yeah, this is over. Once
That's
it gets,
game
I mean,
over.
2 goals. I mean, technically, if there's any time on the clock left, you can win. But when there's 0-0-0, even if you do score before that ball touches the ground, it immediately ends the game afterwards. Anyways, so we're just waiting for the ball to hit the ground, and there it is. Typhlosion is the winner, 2-1. They do get that successful revenge story.
Yep. We are officially underway with our championship bracket for October. Typhlosion is going to take the first stream match of this final bracket, 2-1 over Snom. They did get their revenge, like you said. They were able to come back and take back a victory of their own. We are super excited to see them throughout the course of this bracket because this is going to be a team to watch. I think they've played phenomenally well. I think they've played well above their skill ranking on paper, especially in the last 2 games of this series. Like I was saying before, they do have an 8-1 deficit in their 2 victories. So that's a very commanding lead, especially coming against a team that swept you earlier in group play. This is a team that has clearly practiced and played together over the past weeks to prep for this tournament. We are familiar with some of the players. They have played together before, so this is not a strange new circumstance for them over the past 4 weeks. But nonetheless, they have taken that first victory. We are officially underway. We have more Rocket League to bring you here in a bit, but we're going to take a quick break, get you guys set up here for our next match. We'll be right back in just a second.
Peace.
Hello, and welcome back to Fall Nationals. We are here to bring you match number 2 of our championship bracket play. If you are just joining us, this is our recruiting league built to connect high school esports athletes to the collegiate scene, hopefully on scholarship. We are in the final match night, or the first match night of our final bracket play for October. This is the second season of our 3-season split for this fall 2020 season. We are excited to have you guys with us, but we do need to bring you first the MVP from the last match, and that is going to be none other than Blurry. This player was absolutely all over the place. Scoring goals, having assists, was basically, that was one of those performances that was very hard to decide who was going to be the MVP from that match. It could have been One Tap, it could have been Retro Taz. They all played phenomenally, but Blurry was the main goal scorer, sniper from inside the box. So well done to Typhlosion. We look forward to seeing them throughout the rest of the bracket, and congratulations to Blurry. But we do have another match for you tonight, Tails. Who do we got?
We have Pidgeot versus my boys, Team Pikachu. Super excited to see Pikachu back on stream. It's been a little bit. They are one of the teams that I have been a coach for 2 months now.
Yep. So
super exciting to see, that team I've kind of been leading come to bracket play in their second season and hopefully get a win and go on. No bias, I promise, maybe a little bit. But I'm excited to see, looking at the 2 teams, Pikachu is in our A division and Pidgeot is, I believe, in the C division.
Yep.
So it kind of shows you there is kind of a clear difference of skill there. But we'll see. Maybe Pidgeot has an upset in their sleeve. We never know. It is Rocket League. On any given night, anything could happen. I think these teams are close enough to where anything could happen. But, if I had to pick, I think in Pikachu 2-0.
Yeah, no, this Pikachu side is, of course, one of our teams to already have qualified, right? So they have already qualified for the Winter Major in December. So there's really nothing to lose for them here other than just pure bragging rights and, getting used to practicing inside of that competitive environment. So, they're in a good spot. What we need to focus on here is this Pidgeot side. They're in a position now where they have to go up against one of the top 4 teams from last season. So they are coming back into this season, of course, still being one of the top 10 teams in the league. This Pidgeot side does have a lot more to prove. And, while I do think that the Pikachu side does have the more likely chance of success in this match, I think this is going to come down to Pidgeot has more to prove here, which from what we've seen so far, that usually holds a little bit more water in terms of the competitive environment. We do have everybody loaded into the game, and we are ready to go with this, so we are going to be kicking this off for you momentarily, but this is going to be another exciting match to watch. We are super excited to bring you, these matches tonight for our final bracket, so thank you very much for joining us. This one is going to be another exciting one, as this Pikachu side is, of course, a phenomenal team going up against this Pidgeot side. So Pidgeot in blue, Pikachu in orange, and we are kicked off and ready to go.
Yep, here we go. We see an early attack here from Team Pikachu into the corner. It does get cleared back. SBC does dumps it down into the other half. It does kind of float over. An almost near miss there. Follow up from Coxie, I believe. It is saved by Magnolia. And we're off to a hot start here. I think this is going to be a pretty attacking game on both sides. I'm excited to see what level of attack we have. A great save there from Warlike. And there's a runaway now. Let's see if SBC can get back. SBC does get back in time. SBC is a great defender. I've seen him time and time again kind of always make those plays. Even if it looks like it's a last-ditch effort, he always has control and finesse to make those great defensive plays. But here we go. We are attacking again from the Pikachu side. And Warlike almost puts it in his own net. And Coxie's here to follow it up and take the early lead, 1-0 for Team Pikachu.
Yeah, that looked like it was an attempt at a save, and it was. Maybe got a little bit closer than War would have liked to seen. Unfortunately, did hit off that post and was able to bounce back up into Coxie, who was just there waiting for it and ready to score that goal. We do have an early goal here in the first minute of this game. There is still plenty of time here, and from what we've seen so far, this Pidgeot side has made some amazing touches and pushed forward with, a little bit more fervor than we normally would have seen from a Division C team. But one thing to note with all of the divisions here is that almost everybody in this league is going to be some semblance of a GC. So this is by no way stretch of imagination. Being in Div C is not indicative of being a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. These players are all above top 10% in the world in Rocket League. So they have been playing phenomenally so far. As we do see that second goal there come out from SPC, a little bit of a misrotation here for this Pidgeot side. Nobody back on the long shot there from SPC. Late rotation there, as I'm not exactly sure where the breakdown was. Magnolia was rotating back, but not quite there in time, maybe hunting for a little bit of boost. They are down 2-0, but nothing of these two goals is anything that shows that they've been outplayed, right? As we talked about in that first game, Rocket League is a game where, especially at this level, it's about speed and mitigating your mistakes. From what these are teams, when you get up to this rank, that everybody's going to have the ability to capitalize on any small, minute mistake that you make, which is exactly what we've seen here so far in these first two goals from this side, right? We see all that save in the first goal that bounced off that post and up back into Coxie's car, not necessarily the save you were looking for. We have that second goal, which of course is just that missed rotation by this Pidgeot side. So a couple minor adjustments that they need to make, and they are right back in this game and giving Pikachu a run for their money.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we always say, Rocket League really is about capitalizing on those mistakes, and it is about who can do that more than the other team, especially at this high level of play. Going off what you were saying earlier, we have 4 divisions right now, A, B, C, and D, and really there's only about 500 MMR that kind of divides them from 1,500 to about 2K. Especially within it, it's only about 100, 150 MMR from the top team to the bottom team in each division. I mean, it's really showing here, right? Normally if I say there's a Division A team playing a Division C team, the Division A team is going to run away with it, right? And it's still 2-0 at halftime, still, pretty commanding, but not what that general trope tends to make you think. But we do see a continuous attack here from Pikachu. They keep dumping the ball back into the corners, looking for those crosses. Looks like Zenith's going to let this go by him and then take this into the middle and clear it out from here. A good pass to SBC, and that's great. That's one thing that Pikachu has struggled with, is playing out from the back. They're really great defensively, they're really great attacking, but maintaining that control in that transition from defense to attack is something that Pikachu has struggled with, but it does look like they're doing a good job here as they're passing to each other as they are clearing from that defensive half.
The biggest difference that you've seen so far from these two sides is definitely the rotations, right? We're seeing a very different lopsided form of rotations where we see this Pidgeot side, they're getting some great touches, but they are definitely just a little bit slower to each of their individual positions than this Pikachu side, which is indicative of why they're winning 50s like that almost led to a goal. Of course, that's exactly why it's 2-0 as well. So, I mean, this is a team that it is going to play at probably the fastest pace one of the fastest paces that you're going to see in this league. And we do see a goal come out here for Warlike, though. Able to get the shot on off the pass from Magnolia. And just like that, it is a 1-goal game with just over 60 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time in this match for this team to make a significant difference and bring themselves back into level playing field here. What they're looking for is hopefully in the next 20 to 30 seconds that they're able to score another one and level this back up and hopefully push for that overtime, if not more. But this Pidgeot side going up against the Division A team is right back in this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a 1-goal game now. It's time for Pikachu to step up and seal this game, as they do here with SBC getting a great goal off a attempted clearance from Warlike. It seems the ball kind of just floats up. SBC takes advantage of that floating ball and puts it in the back of the net for that 3-1 lead with about 50 seconds left. But as we all know in Rocket League, the game is not over yet, right? There is still infinite time as long as the ball doesn't touch the ground. So as long as Pidgeot can come and get a quick goal here, they're right back in it.
They absolutely are, but not after something like that. Coxie is going to be able to go up and sink that shot off the pass there from SBC, who puts that just in the corner to bounce back in front of net. Coxie is there, of course, to sink that ball back down. And, I mean, just absolutely incredible positioning and performance there from this side, and that's exactly what you want to see here from such a dominant side in this Pikachu team, that they are doing exactly what you would expect them to do, right? We need this Pidgeot side, however, to play a little bit more up. They need to increase their pace. They need to increase their rotational positioning, but aside from that, this is a team that, you know, so for all indications, we're seeing exactly what we thought we would see here from this matchup. I do think that this Pidgeot side does have what it takes to be able to contest with this Pikachu side. It's just a matter of buckling down and making the right choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we see the third goal from Coxie to make it 5-1, which is absolutely incredible. It is very, very awesome to see Coxie, one of our seniors, have a hat trick in the first game of the October bracket for Team Pikachu. Super, super awesome to see and kind of experience as well. So I'm super happy for Team Pikachu to get this early lead. And we'll see if Pidgeot can bounce back, right? Obviously at a 5-1 deficit. There's no way they're coming back in this one. Might be made 6-1 here shortly, but we shall see what happens in game number 2. What does Pidgeot have to work on, or at least think about going into game number 2 to, you know, not lose 1-5?
Yeah, you know, we've talked so much already, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is a game that is all about rotations, right? This is something that you are going to see, that the team that is able to rotate to their positions quicker than the other team is going to be the side that's usually most successful. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, right? The faster team is the one scoring the goals. They are the ones putting the shots on. You know, this Pidgeot side, excuse me, is of course making some plays of their own. They're getting some saves. They're getting some shots on, and of course they were able to sink that team play of a goal in about the halfway point of that game. But the speed and the rotations from this Pikachu side were very clearly overwhelming. So if I'm this Pidgeot side, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to play something a little bit more passive on that offensive end and something a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end, right? Maybe play somebody on the backboard, one person in net, and then have somebody else making those challenges as quickly as possible, especially in those corner scenarios. Just try to win a 50 or 2. That's what I would do if I was this Pidgeot side, because of course, like the famous Bear Light says all the time, defense turns into offense. So the more that you can initiate those passing plays and that teamwork out of the back of your own field, the better off you'll be on the offensive end as well. I don't think they need to make a whole lot of major adjustments. I do think that every adjustment they need to make is going to be something minor or minute to put them back into this game. But nonetheless, they do have the work in front of them, as in order to stay alive, they are going to have to reverse sweep this series and take 2 straight. I don't think that that's necessarily unlikely, but it is going to be a challenge nonetheless. But we are loaded up here, ready to get you going in game number 2 of this match, Pikachu versus Pidgeot. And right off the bat, a shot comes out from Warlike, and SPC is there to sink that one back in.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that early shot, and now it does look like Pidgeot is on the attack. Early in this game, looking like they're coming out of the barrel a little faster than they have been since game 1 or after any kickoff. But here we go. Zenith is carrying it down the field. Warlike with a good clear into the corner. Let's see if one of Pikachu can follow up. Zenith does follow up. The ball might trickle in front of net. Here we go. It is above on that backboard, and no one gets on the end of that, and it kind of trickles into the midfield. Right now, pretty even. I will say a pre-jump here from SBC and a shot on net, and that is a phenomenal goal, phenomenal read and finish from SBC to take a 1-0 lead early in game number 2.
Yeah, Zenith winning a big challenge there to keep that ball in the air in midfield. SPC is, of course, going to double jump up there to sink his nice little redirect into the net. And we are kicking off this game hot within the first 45 seconds of this match. But, you know, again, still plenty of time for Pidgeot to make a difference, right? Those kinds of plays are exactly what you expect to see from this Pikachu side. So you need to play like you're going to see those types of maneuvers. So, I mean, that's the type of things that you have to think about when you're going up against a team that is a higher rank than you, that in order to play up, you you need to expect the things that they're going to do, right? Which could be a little bit of an unconventional thing, especially for this team that is this Pidgeot side that is, high champ, low GC, whereas this Pikachu side is going to be on the relatively higher end of the GC spectrum.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, but it may be a weird thing to think about in terms of like what types of things that you're not necessarily used to seeing from a team.
Ooh.
But team play is one of them, and speed is one of them, and everybody knows that GCs are faster than Cs. So that's what you need to expect from this team, and those are the types of adjustments you need to make, is anticipating that type of behavior from these hyper-talented teams.
Absolutely, and as we always say, Rocket League is a game of momentum and speed, and it's so important to consider that and try to obviously play a little faster if you're playing up, right? And here we go. We see another good on continuous attack that's going to end in a goal from Zenith for his first goal of the match and the game to take a 2-0 lead. Really another great team play. I think Pikachu is rotating incredibly well. There's always someone up to play that ball, right? Whether it's playing it out from the corner, finishing it on that cross, or simply having a great defensive rotation. It seems like they're never caught out of position. And when Pikachu does catch Pidgeot out of position, they punish them by scoring, plain and simply. So super good for Pikachu here. Let's see if they can keep up this pretty much dominance right here as SBC goes for a flick over the last man standing. And this looks like it's going to be a goal on the counter attack. Looks like got a little unlucky here, but we have a match. It is 1-2, and we are off to see. We're off to the races.
Yeah, just like Pikachu is able to capitalize on mistakes, so is this Pidgeot side. They have the ability to score these goals and put some immense pressure on this Pikachu side from what we've seen. They have been able to sneak a couple goals in of their own over the course of this series. So, the ability is there, the talent is there to do the things that you need to do to stay alive in this matchup. It's going to be about doing it consistently, possession in and possession out. And so far, that's not what we've seen from this Pidgeot side, is that we've seen glimpses and flashes of what they are capable of.
Ooh.
As we see an excellent save out there come out from Magnolia, but that touch is going to come in. All three members of Pikachu there are pushed up. SPC is going to flip this one back up in front of the net off the wonderful save from Magnolia. And of course, Coxie is there to sink that one just below the crossbar. They have the momentum. They have what they're trying to do in place. It's going to be on this Pidgeot side to slow down this Pikachu team.
Yep, I absolutely agree. It just seems like Pikachu is playing in sync, in rhythm, right? They're always following each other up. They're not out of rotations or double committing or triple committing. They're playing great balanced Rocket League, great rotational Rocket League with a lot of speed, with a lot of momentum. And this is what happens, right? You check all those boxes, you're going to be winning 3-4-1. Coxie with a fantastic play there. Flicks it over two defenders to get his, I believe, second goal of the match. Great little shot right there. Great finish. A little cheeky. And here we go. 4-1 with 2 minutes left. This game is all but over.
Yeah, no, it's seeming that way, right? I mean, you'd like to think that there's still time, and there definitely still is, but we have not seen necessarily what we want to see from this Pidgeot side in order to be able to stay alive. They are, of course, going to be moving down to the losers bracket, so there's still plenty of time to A, see this Pikachu side again, and B, stay alive in this tournament. So they are no way by any means done with this series, but nonetheless, they are going to need to take a lot of the things that they learned from playing this Pikachu side into their next series, which thankfully for them, it is much, much easier to play the harder teams early on than to have to play them later on. And that's exactly what we've seen here from this Pidgeot side. They have the advantage now in being able to see those tougher teams very, very early on, which will set them up against teams that are not quite as powerful as this Pikachu side.
Yeah, Zenith going there for a little bit of a stylization to get that goal on that counterattack. Unfortunately, just gets a little bit of a touch to make it go errant. But Pikachu is still on the attack. Ball up to the backboard. Looks like it's going to be cleared out. A pass that is not successful to pass it out of the back. And the ball is trapped once again over near that blue net. As it does end up being cleared, SBC does have control in his own corner. Pushing it out to midfield. Warlike centers that ball. Looks like Zenith is there to catch up, and this ball might end up in the back of the net. Off the double touch off the backboard from Zenith. Great goal. Great team play once again as he kind of just chips it over two players and double touches it all himself. Really, I don't think there was much of a team play at all in there. Great solo goal, solo effort from Zenith. He saw the opportunity and seized the day.
Yeah, no, definitely has. Zenith is, of course, one of those players that we've had our eye on several times throughout the course of this tournament in the past 2 months of this league. It is a player, of course, a senior, so we've had our eye on him in terms of getting him in touch with, as many important people, but mainly, trying to prepare Zenith for what it's like going to be in college, right? He's one of the players that's closest to that collegiate scene, and he, of course, is going to be one of those players that does have the ability to play in CRL and for other collegiate programs across the country and leagues. So, this is somebody we've obviously, of course, had our eye on, but performances like this in this tournament and what we saw from the September season are exactly why we think so, right? We see the ability that these players have on the pitch to be able to do the things that they're doing, but also the teamwork that they possess and their ability to adapt to different styles of play game in and game out. So, this has been obviously, of course, a phenomenal series for this Pikachu side. They've played exceptionally well, but honestly, I am rather impressed with this Pidgeot side, right? They are going up against one of our top 4 teams from last season. They are able to sneak a couple goals in, and honestly, no part of me thinks that Pikachu necessarily, dominated every aspect of this game. There were still a lot of challenges. There were still a lot of possessions that this Pidgeot side had that put an immense amount of pressure on this Pikachu team. So, well played to them. I expect them to make quite the run inside the losers bracket. But, of course, congratulations to Pikachu for taking that victory. They will move on to the next round of the winners. Speaking of the next round of the winners, we have some more amazing matches to bring to you tonight. So we are going to take a quick break, set up the next match for you guys, and we'll be back in just a minute with some more Rocket League.
See you then.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to Fall Nationals. If you are just joining us, this is match number 3 we are heading into of the championship bracket for our October split of our 3-season series. We are super excited about what we have to bring to you. We have quite a couple breaking news things to break down for you as well. But before we do that, let's go over our MVP from the prior match.
Our MVP from the prior match is Coxie from Team Pikachu. He is one of the seniors in the Fall Nationals. Really great player, really great kid as well, and I'm super excited that he got an MVP from their first match in bracket play. And Pikachu has by default qualified for day number 2. Winner or loss in their next game of the night, they make it to day 2 no matter what, and can be in that top 12 of October season as they look forward to trying to get maybe another top 4 spot and kind of claim a higher seed for that fall major as well. But great job, Coxie. Super proud of that. But on to this match, we have Typhlosion versus Squirtle, and Typhlosion, I don't even know how to describe
upset
this.
Alert. There's an upset alert that is coming down now. Typhlosion just swept 2-0 the number 1 overall seed in Mewtwo. So, this has been absolutely incredible performance from them. And we've, of course, showed them 2 matches ago on stream. They put up one heck of a fight, but to take down the number 1 overall seed as a Division B team is immensely impressive, of course, with Retro Taz and One Tap Steven on that Blurry. That team is incredibly talented. So we are going to see them again right here in just a second. These teams are going to be you're going to be facing off now against the 8 overall seed in Squirtle, which is another Division A team. They finished a little bit bottom half of that Division A side, but of course the competition is stiff inside of that A division. If you would like to see the full bracket, of course, just use that command inside of the Twitch chat and we can link that to you. But we are getting this match loaded up here and ready to go. We are excited to bring you exactly what's going to happen. Who do you think is going to take this one?
I don't really know. It's hard to say. I think, Typhlosion is kind of the obvious answer. They're coming off a hot victory, upsetting the number 1 overall seed in the entire October season of Fall Nationals. Got to go with Typhlosion. If you have that much momentum, you're feeling that good about yourself, that usually leads to that next game being a victory.
Yeah, I hate to go with you on this one. I like disagreeing with you, but I think I'm going to take Typhlosion as well. No offense to Squirtle. This team clearly has the momentum, and they're riding high right now. I don't see any reason for them to stop going. I don't necessarily see any team that's going to be able to put up the fight that they need to have, but here we are, rolling off the bat here. Nando's, of course, rocking a new sense, apparently. Roar is going to be looking for that ceiling touch, but doesn't quite read where that ball's going there. Vortex is able to get a nice clear off of the backboard and is, of course, making his way down for this offensive possession. But one thing that we've seen so far from this Typhlosion side is the immense amount of speed that they're able to bring into these matchups. They are a very quick team. Their rotations and their offensive possessions are very, very consistent across all of their series. So we are going to see some big things here from both of these teams. My expectation here is that we are either going to see a absolute a nail biter. We're going to see something where it comes down to 1 or 2 goals, or we're going to see an absolute blowout, and it's going to be a goal fest by one of these teams. I don't necessarily see any middle ground here in terms of, we're not going to see a 4-3 matchup. We're going to see something like a 2-1. So, very exciting Rocket League here to bring you today as the shot comes in from Retro Taz. Is able to sink the shot off the pass from One Tap, who does win that 50, is able to put that ball just behind the defender in Vortex, who's not quite able to get the touch to clear it away. And that is a 1-goal lead now in the first minute for this Typhlosion side.
Yeah, great play there. Take the early lead, 1-0 from Typhlosion. It's been pretty even. I think Typhlosion just exploited a little tiny mistake as that ball kind of just hangs there in midfield for a few seconds too long, seemingly, and it's still kind of just chilling over there on that one side of the midfield as they go for a shot, and Roar answers back quickly, making it 1-1 with about 3.5 minutes left in game number 1. We have maybe one of those nail biters on our hands.
Yeah, no, we have ourselves a game. This is going to be an interesting one. I think we're going to see plays like that so far. 2 team plays coming out for both of these sides early on in this matchup. I would anticipate that's exactly what we are going to see throughout the remainder of this series. But nonetheless, we did forget to mention that the winner of this team does move on to the final 12 in the winner's bracket, which, of course, we will be airing for you starting tomorrow evening. We will get down to the nitty-gritty of all this and break down the top 12 teams. The loser is going to go to the top 12 of the loser's bracket, so there is still plenty of chance for even the losing team to make a solid run at the bracket. But nonetheless, these are two of our top 24 teams left remaining so far in this bracket. So, a lot on the line here for both of these teams. Of course, both of them are eyeing that top 4 spot, that top 10% in Fall Nationals October. So, very excited to see exactly what happens. Roar is going for the pinch here off the side. He's going to get that touch down onto the ground, and the shot comes on, but not quite able to sink that one in. Second shot comes on, but Blurry is there to push that one away. And so far, pretty impressive offensive possessioning here from this Squirtle side.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, still kind of back and forth here as Roar gets a long shot here just off the inside of the post and does not trickle into the net. Rather bounces out into open play as the ball kind of goes back to the other end, as we're seeing a lot of open court play here as Blurry does take advantage of a demo in the net and makes it 2-1 for Typhlosion, just about at that halfway mark for game number 1. So really still, I think this can go either way. We could see either team score a few more goals pretty easily, or this end in a defensive fashion. I think it really goes back to what we were talking about all night about who's going to make those least amount of mistakes. As both of these teams are super even, judging by the way they've been playing so far. The game might open up and may close down. We're not really quite sure here, but it was like One Tap Steph does have a chance here. Just doesn't get there quite fast enough, as there is a defender rotating back as I believe Squirtle starts to clear out from the back. But they do relaunch the attack, put it back in the corner, follows up from Blurry. He's going to try to put this off the backboard for one of his teammates. Great clearance there. And once again, we're just seeing kind of a back and forth with a little advantage to the attacking side right now in Team Typhlosion.
Yeah, they are on the upper hand here. Squirtle does have clearly, as they seek another pass there, not quite able to make that one happen. The 50 does come out here from Vortex, who's able to get that touch, but the ball is going to float away back over to the Squirtle side. And so far, we're seeing some pretty back and forth play. Vortex, of course, looking for that one. Does not quite get the touch he's looking for. One tap with the double touch, but not quite able to sink it in, as that stays just over top of the crossbar. This is going to be one of those games where it is going to come down to the final 60 seconds here, as we are fast approaching that time marker. And this Typhlosion side is still up on Squirtle. They are going to need to score here within the next 25 seconds or so to keep their momentum up and stay alive in this matchup. But this Typhlosion side clearly has so much momentum riding off of their victories so far in this bracket that they clearly feel prepared for any competition they are going to face, and that goes for any Division A team, as we have seen them take down one so far as they look to take down their second top 10 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be down to a nail biter. It's just a question of Typhlosion keep this momentum up. They have the lead. They're coming off a hot victory from the last round. And it looks like they're still in somewhat control, also even attacking just a little bit. We get a good clearance here, clearance back down. We got to see Squirtle put together an attack really fast. A good shot on net there. It is saved. Not well, though. It goes off the backboard, and I believe that was one tap. Steven just beats one of Squirtle's players to make sure that that ball wasn't put back in the net from that follow-up. As we see a counterattack come here for Typhlosion as we go into the last 10 seconds. That back pass did not go the way that it was planned, I think. And this is in a tricky situation. They can keep this off the ground, and on the attack, we're going to see a victory, but they can't. And Typhlosion takes game number 1, 2-1. That nail biter came true. I mean, it was 2-1 for the last about 2.5 minutes. Yeah. That entire second half of the map. Looking at the stats here, looks like it's pretty even across the board. Not a lot of shots. Actually, Squirtle had about double the shots that Typhlosion did, but Typhlosion was just a little more accurate with their finishes, and that ultimately gave them the victory on game number 1.
Yeah, this Typhlosion side, of course, as we've seen from them so far, they are immensely quick. And I think that's probably one of their biggest attributes is that they're able to carry that speed and that momentum through most of their matchups and through most of their possessions as well. If you watch that game, usually they park that last man back somewhere along one of those side boosts there in the middle of the field, depending on, obviously, of course, which corner the ball is being pushed to, which, of course, leaves them a little bit open on the defensive end, right? But when you have the speed to get back, especially as that last man, it doesn't really matter how far you actually push up, which is what we're seeing from this Typhlosion side a lot. They're, zoning out this Squirtle side the same way that they did for their prior 2 series in this bracket so far. They're very good at kind of pinching their defense away from those possessions and winning a lot of those close encounters in 50s, which of course lead to overarching consistent success, which is what we've seen from this Typhlosion side so far, and a big indicator as to why they're moving on through the bracket in such a commanding fashion. We are familiar with Retro Taz and Blurry and One Tap. We have seen them before. Retro Taz and One Tap, of course, being some of our seniors that we are looking to keep our eye on as much as possible. But, these are teams that moving forward are going to be very impressive to see exactly how they approach the later half of this bracket against other teams that are dominating in a similar way. We here are backloaded into this second match, ready to get you going here in the first 15 seconds or so. Right off the bat, we're seeing a similar play style, right? A lot of these initial series, you're seeing that these teams are taking the first couple seconds of a match to figure each other out, as well as, trying to take reads on exactly what the opposing team is trying to do from a positional standpoint and from their strategy. But right off the bat here, we see that Typhlosion side is a little bit patient, but still making as many impressive pushes as they possibly can. I'm not exactly sure what to anticipate from this match. Like we talked about, this is a nail biter as well. The Squirtle side does need to make some adjustments, but they have what it takes. It's just going to be about execution.
Absolutely. To the first minute of this game number 2, it is 0-0. Pretty even so far. As we see a ball get dumped in the corner here from Vortex, and the follow, he's going to put it back across net, but One Tap Steven does clear it back into the corner, take him back from Nando. And it's just kind of hanging out in that top right corner on blue side until they do end up clearing it out. Typhlosion does look like they are on the attack now. This is really going back and forth. Both teams are trying to control the midfield as we see a great shot come out from Nando, but it is an even better save from One Tap Steven, or Steph, I believe. Rara's going to carry this up to that backboard. Let's see if someone can follow that up. Nope, it is saved by Typhlosion. And we get a little bit of a counterattack here. That ball is in the net. Great shot by One Tap Steph, just reading that the only place that defender really had to go was a weakish clearance into the middle of the field, so to say, and One Tap Steph takes advantage of that weaker clearance, beats him with some better speed, and makes it 1-0 for Typhlosion, still riding high on that momentum from that last round upset that we keep talking about, and that's just to show you how unexpected that upset was.
We might see another Typhlosion Div A team sweep here as the second shot comes out. One Tap stealing the goal there from Retro Taz. If anybody... this
that was mean. That was a little mean.
Yeah, it looks like I'm playing with one of my friends right now, but One Tap is going to steal that goal away from Retro Taz. Nonetheless, it does sink in, and that is a 2-0 lead here for this Typhlosion side. And as I'm talking about it, we might see our second sweep from a Div A team by this side so far in Typhlosion. This is the second top 10 seed that they have faced so far in this bracket, and they are about to, just as they did to the overall number 1 seed, they are about to sweep this 8 seed in Squirtle, unless this Squirtle team figures out exactly how to slow down this powerhouse and chemistry build of a team in Retro Taz, Blurry, and One Tap Stefan.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think this is going to be 3-0 here.
Oh,
Retro
my
Taz
goodness.
was just another, just overall, they're playing faster right now. Those rotations are quicker, they're faster, they're playing with more momentum, both physically and from that emotional sense as well. And this is all of Typhlosion's game right now. In the last minute, it went from 0-0 pretty even to Typhlosion just kind of scoring at will almost. And, you know, Squirtle looks like they have no answer for this type of play.
Yeah, no, I mean, they really don't. This Squirtle side is clearly very discombobulated. They seem to not have necessarily a concise game plan heading into the later half of this second match. They do need to battle back from a 3-0 deficit. As we see the shot come on, but One Tap Steph is there to push that one away and save that one from going in. Roar with an excellent shot as the second one comes out, but Blurry is there to keep that one out from Vortex. What exactly does a team have to do to beat this? As we see the team play come out, but Retro Taz not able to finish that one as Vortex is able to push that one away. Again, hunting for the top of that goal, but again, it's One Tap Steph with yet another save, preventing these goals from happening. Nothing you can do about that one, though, as Roar passes that one up to Nando for the first goal of this Squirtle in this second game.
Yeah, great team play there. Just a simple pass from the corner up in the air. Nando is already pre-jumping, expecting that play. Probably got a great call from his teammate and, you know, just dunks that one over top, which is super, super awesome to see, you know. And we were talking about just now the level of team play from Typhlosion, and Squirtle kind of found the answer. If they can play as a team like they are here, passing it to each other, playing off of each other, they can play just as well, if not better, and they've been better for the last 30 seconds as they go from 3-0 to 3-2, cutting that lead down to only 1 goal as we approach the last minute and 45 seconds here.
Yeah, they are clearly hearing us talk about the sweep here on the casting booth as they are clearly showing signs of life here in this second game. 90 seconds here approaching us very quickly as this Typhlosion side still, of course, leads 3-2. If you are just joining us, this is match number 3 of this bracket play. It is the overall 8 seed in Squirtle facing off against Typhlosion, one of the Div B teams. I believe they are a 13 or 14 seed, if I'm not mistaken. Typhlosion is coming off of a sweep of an upset against the number 1 overall ranked seed Mewtwo, forcing them down into the losers bracket. And the winner of this matchup will move on to be in the top 12 for our final day of bracket play tomorrow evening. And we see that third goal come out here. Excellent team play there. Roar is going to push this up to Vortex for the third goal. And with 60 seconds just over it now remaining in this matchup, we have ourselves a tie game in this game number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a complete turnaround of play. You know, we were just talking about literally about a minute and a half ago of how dominant Typhlosion had become, and now it just completely flipped, and Squirtle is actually looking even better than Typhlosion was when they were up 3-0. And now it is 3-3, of course, going into the last minute. We'll see who can go. This looks like this is on net, and it is now 4-3 in favor of Squirtle. That is 4 goals in about 80 seconds of gameplay, which is absolutely phenomenal to say the least, as Squirtle does grab the advantage now, looking to not be swept and take this to a game number 3.
Yeah, taking their first lead of this series over Typhlosion. It's actually the first lead that I think we've seen Typhlosion give up so far. That being said, they do still have possession on that half of the field with just 1 goal down with 30 seconds remaining. So still plenty of time for this side to make a big impact here in this game, as we do see some team plays come out here. The pass comes back in, looking for that shot off the crossbar, but the flick does come out there from Roar, able to push that one away. But again, the entire defense is back, and we see some possession come out here from this offense as Blurry looks to put that shot on. One Tap Steph is there to follow, gets 50'd away by Vortex, and Blurry is there yet again to push this ball back into the middle, looking for things to happen here as we approach the final 10 seconds. One of these teams is going to move on in this series. We are yet to see if it is going to be Typhlosion or Squirtle, but Squirtle does lead this game here and will take game 2 to tie the series back up at 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Typhlosion just kind of self-imploded there. Once you're up 3-0 in that like second half of that certain game, really it is kind of yours to lose. Once again, Rocket League kind of is anyone's game at any point, but at the same time, when you're up 3-0 kind of in anything, you're kind of expected to hold that lead, especially in a goal-oriented game like Rocket League. So here we are. It is 1-1. We are going to game number 3 between Squirtle and Typhlosion in just a few seconds here. But first, let's look at these stats. Looking at Squirtle, once again, they had so many more shots, right? We saw the same thing in game number 1 where they had twice as many shots, but Typhlosion had twice as many goals, 2-1. In that scoreline in game number 1. And here, Squirtle took advantage of their many shot opportunities, right? They had, 12 shots to Typhlosion's 7, so almost twice as much on that shot count, and they just ended up sinking more. So I think looking at game number 3, Typhlosion needs to, try to limit the number of shots, right? Not depend on themselves making all of those saves like they're forcing themselves to, but play some better defense, make sure they're not getting those shots off, because I think if they do end up limiting the Squirtle shot count a little bit lower than they have been allowing it to get so high, then I think they'll take this pretty easily as we head into game number 3 right now.
Yeah, what we saw a lot of from Squirtle in that last game is that they were able to slow down the possessions of this Typhlosion side pretty significantly. And that's exactly the type of things that you want to see from these two sides, right? Both of these teams are going to play immensely quick, so whoever can control the pace, the best analogy, funny enough, is actually, the NFL, right? The team that is able to take time off the clock, build that run game, which is what makes teams successful, is the defense in the run game. And we say that, and Nando comes out off the pass from Vortex to make this a 1-0 lead for Squirtle here in the first 30 seconds of this match. And, we were just talking about controlling pace. That's exactly how you do it right there, is start out the game hot, build that momentum, and carry yourselves a dub through starting out on the best foot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they're doing, right? They're flipping that momentum on Typhlosion, which has seemingly had a ton of it through those first 2 games until they started to just fall apart. And when you go up 3-0 and then lose 4-3 in a span of 2 minutes, it takes a little toll. So they really need to focus on resetting mentally, even after giving up an early lead, and getting back, answering back here quickly, so they can be fighting in a fair battle heading into that later half of the match. But there's a bit of a whiff there. One-tap stuff does take this out into the midfield, carries it into the center, has a little bit of a pass to his teammate. It is popped up. There is a chance of shot on a goal here. Blurry does not take advantage of the opportunity, though, as Squirtle regains control here. And this might end up being off the backboard. Trying to make a solo play, Vortex there. I feel like he should have just been rotating back, but he makes the decisions, not me, obviously, as Squirtle continues to have a good attack here, keeping the ball trapped in Typhlosion's side of the pitch, as they continue to try to center that ball off that backboard to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, so far in the last 2 minutes of this game, we're seeing a very different Squirtle side from what we've seen so far in this matchup. Typhlosion looks relatively the same, but we do see the demo come out here from Roar, and that is clearly an attempt to take this Typhlosion side and some of their players out of this matchup. We do see One Tap is going to get the air carry, but Vortex is there for the save. Blurry is going to take a shot of his own here, but again, the save from Roar, able to push that one away. Excellent defensive possessioning here from the Squirtle side, forcing Typhlosion back into the defense as the pass comes out. But again, One Tap is there to push this one away. Some excellent possessions coming out here so far early from both of these teams. We are approaching the halfway point. One of these teams needs to win this and take away the series win to move on to the final 12 in the winner's bracket. But nonetheless, the clock is ticking. One of these teams need to make a move, and right now it's Typhlosion.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, like we were talking about earlier, Squirtle can play that NFL-style run game, for lack of a better analogy, and just let the clock continue to drift down, or even score and double their lead as Roar takes a great shot and makes it 2-0 off a pass off the backboard from his teammate into the upper 90. And here we are, 2-0, clear advantage to Squirtle, and Squirtle has been looking like they are the better team this entire game number 3.
Yeah, no, they definitely have, and even the second half of that second matchup, right? This is as the shot comes out from Blurry, Roar able to push that one away. 3 to 4 saves here in the last 45 seconds to a minute for Roar as the shot comes on, but One Tap is there to force that ball out off the shot from Vortex, as again wins the 50, back down to his teammate in Retro Taz, who's maybe looking for that pass, couldn't quite get it to connect to a teammate there. But I mean, right off the bat, we're seeing a very different side here in this Squirtle side, and Typhlosion is on the back foot, which is a new place. We have not seen them playing from behind off the back foot like this before. So I'm excited to see exactly how they're going to handle this adversity, because this will be a good indicator of what they're going to do when they face the top talent moving through the rest of the losers and winners final or winners bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is going to be very telling here. Even, you know, this is a winners bracket game, so the loser still has a great chance to make a run in the loser side and try to get back to the grand final as well. Here we go, though. It looks like this is going to be pretty controlling from Squirtle as they continue some pressure in the midfield to try to keep it in the attacking half, so they don't have to worry about defending as much, because obviously if you're attacking, it's very hard for the other team to score unless they get a great counter attack. But here we go. Typhlosion is still trying to play out of the back. Looks like they are not having much success, though, right? They're not clearing that ball with much power, and really Squirtle's coming right back, dumping that ball back towards Typhlosion's net with more power, more speed, and more accuracy, and just keeping that ball floating around in that blue half as the time continues to trickle down.
Yeah, you know, we're approaching the final 30 seconds here. Typhlosion will need to score in the next 5 to 10 seconds in order to keep that momentum and stay alive in this matchup. It does not look like it's going to happen, but there's still plenty of time as they are making a push down the field, making some offense happen, but Roar is there to push that one away. Again, I believe his 5th save of the night. That's 5 saves in this game 3 for Roar to keep those shots from landing. I mean, excellent defensive performance there as the shot comes on off the crossbar from Roar, trying to make some action there on the offensive side for a change, but the clock will tick down. This will go down to 0, and we will see that despite One Tap's efforts to carry this ball out, it will touch the ground, and this will be a Squirtle victory in Game 3, and they are moving on to the final 12 in the winner's bracket. Typhlosion, of course, will move down to the final 12 of the loser's bracket.
Yep, they're both making day number 2 no matter what. It's just now Typhlosion's on the loser's bracket, which is a much more difficult place to make it back from, as we all know. It doesn't matter what game, what competition, online or LAN. Once you're in that loser's bracket, it is very difficult to climb your way back and win. But Squirtle retaining that advantage, being on that winner's side, is obviously where every team wants to be as we head into day number 2, which will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, where we will be covering one winner's semifinal, one winners finals, and then the losers final and the grand finals, all of which are best of 5. So it's going to be a longer night tomorrow. It looks like we do have an MVP of that last match before we call it a night, and it is going to be Nando on Team Squirtle. Obviously, phenomenal play from Nando. It's really that key player controlling the midfielder and controlling the attack that entire 3-game series to come back from that early deficit, that early 0-1 loss from game number 1 and win those next 2 games, especially in that transition game number 2 where they went from 3-0 to 4-3. Still a great feat in itself there. But that is kind of all we have for y'all tonight. Any parting words, Box Turtle?
Yeah, you know, if you guys want to find out more about this, of course, please go to espin.gg. We would love to have you in our league, following our league, being a part of this in any way, shape, or form. We'd love the opportunity to provide a platform for high school players to compete. The reason being, it didn't exist for us when we were that age, and that was not that long ago, to give you an idea of how new this is. So we love the ability to be able to do this. Please go to also follow our Twitter. That is at stay_plugged_in to find out all the information that we're doing every day. We tweet about it constantly. Our social media team's pretty phenomenal. But that will do it for us. You can find me on Twitter at CLTBoxTurtle.
And you can find me on Twitter at TailsSpin. And one last thing, we do have the Charge episode premiere number 2. You see these banners, you see this shirt, and you're like, that doesn't look like the typical Stay Plugged In logo. That is the Charge, a media TV show that covers all things collegiate esports and following multiple leagues. That is very similar to Sports Center, but for esports, specifically for the colleges. And we're going to be preparing episode 2 where Gray and I will be hosting our normal talk show Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Well, actually, just before the show is premiering at 7 p.m. We'll be live just about 10 minutes before that. So join us then as well as tomorrow night for that final bracket day play to crown an October season champion on top of seeing who's going to make a top 4 to qualify for that final December major for Fall Nationals. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for staying the entire time. And remember, stay plugged in. Hello and welcome back to Fall Nationals. Today is bracket day number 2 of the October Fall Nationals season split. We call it a bunch of different things, but this is the October season finale where tonight we are hoping to crown a champion of the October season, and the top 4 teams from this bracket also advance and automatically qualify into the the December Fall Nationals final major. Super awesome tournament. There was the top 12 teams from all 3 seasons, September, October, November. They all qualify into that invitational, and it's going to be super awesome. I believe we already have one team, Slowpoke, that qualified from last season, so it would be the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 overall placements that do qualify. But I'm super excited to be here. I am joined by my co-caster, Bearlight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome, man. How about yourself? How have you been?
Doing great. Living the dream right now. I'm not a caster by trade, but I do like it. I like getting on the mic in front of the camera every so often, just because I love what we're doing here at Stay Plugged In. I just want to talk about it more. So it's super awesome. And kind of to take you through what that looks like, Fall Nationals is a recruiting league at its heart. We basically facilitate connections between high school students and collegiate recruiters to get them scholarships and placement into these awesome collegiate esports programs. Right. So they can continue to pursue their passions at that next level while getting a collegiate degree, which is so important, right? We all know with a bachelor's degree or any kind of degree in that collegiate sense, your chance of upward mobility and or just general success in life goes up by a ton. But enough about that. Let's get into tonight's game. Who do we have first?
Right now we have Squirtle facing off with Weezing. And
awesome.
Yes, and we've seen Weezing on live stream earlier this season, right? I think it was a couple weeks ago that we saw them. They performed very well, but they still have something left to prove. Obviously, if anybody's left in the bracket, that's going to be the case. And to go up against the Squirtle team, it's going to be a close-fought game. But again, to get through this series is to face Slowpoke as well eventually in this tournament. So this is definitely going to be who can start off quickly. And if they can get through quickly and advance to the next round, use this as a warm-up game to try to get to the place that you want to be in order to face a crazy team like Slowpoke like we've seen. But there's so much talent like we see week after week with the talent coming in here from these high school students looking to get that scholarship. Everybody's pressing. Everybody's doing exactly what they need to do to get there. So it's super exciting to see, and this series is going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the 2 winners semifinals. So to bring you into a little few more specifics, this is a double elimination bracket. We started last night and we got down to the top 12 teams, and we are starting off the stream tonight with one of the matches from the winners semifinals. So this is the winner side and one of the semifinals in that side. And we have Squirtle and Weezing, like you just said, Bearlight, and I'm super awesome. Looking at the bracket right now, it is super awesome to see Slowpoke. At a glance, really is the favorite, right? They're playing without K-Frost tonight, but with Patty, Zen, and I believe it is Corrosive. Those 3 players are actually, I think, 3 of the top 10 players by MMR in the entire Fall Nationals League. And you look at the field, and it's like you got to give Slowpoke the favorites, and it's all, and there's really no question about that at all. So super awesome there. I expect Slowpoke to take it all tonight. We are just getting a few more players into the lobby here, and we'll be going into games shortly. But looking at Squirtle versus Weezing, you got a favorite, Bearlight?
Out of these two squads, it's very tough to say because I like what I saw out of the Squirtle team, and I wasn't thinking that I was going to say that, right? Yeah. We haven't seen them on stream, so we don't know what they're all about. We've seen the stats, obviously, and those stats have been packed, so we're good. It's going to be good to see. But this one, I haven't seen enough of them to make a choice. I think Weezing has them beaten stats too. Right now, if it comes down to those two teams, I have to go with Weezing. So I'm going Weezing, and then Tails. Who do you have for this one, man?
You know what? I'll take Squirtle. You know, I was tracking them through the bracket last night, and I was impressed. You know, they had some good victories, some good score lines to get some really good teams, and I believe they're a Division B team. You know, looking at the divisions from the tournament right now, there are 4 divisions, A, B, C, and D, and A division only has 3 teams out of the 12. Obviously, percentage-wise, that makes sense, but not really, since Division A is the top 10 teams in the entire league, as they're tiered from Division A being the best 10, and then obviously the next best 10, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
But with only 3 being Slowpoke, Mewtwo, and Pikachu qualifying tonight, and 2 of those teams are actually in the losers bracket. So it's only Slowpoke in that winners bracket. I believe Squirtle and Weezing are both 2 of the better teams from B division, and really, I mean, the divisions are so close that you know, while they are 2 different divisions, I mean, Division A is about 2K plus, and then Division B sits in that 1900 to 2K range. So like, you know, 100 MMR, you know, on a good night doesn't really mean much at all.
And props to the teams that are in Division B, because you're still like, you know, second tier. But listen, they come out with a purpose here in these playoffs. They have something to prove, and it being at 1900 is no joke. So coming out imagine being in Division B and calling like the second best, but they're out here competing. Not only competing, they have just as much chance to take out Division A. So you're absolutely right. It's very interesting to see, and I love seeing it, man.
Absolutely. So I believe out of the top 12, we have 3 from Division A, and then I think we have 8 from Division B, and then only 1 team from Division C. I might be a little off on those numbers, but the majority of those teams are coming from Division B. So it is awesome that they're showing up with that fire, with that dedication. Like, hey, we don't deserve to be in Division B. Let's go and get promoted into Division A after this bracket, so we can really show all these collegiate recruiters that are tuning in that, like, hey, we are the real deal. You know, we got placed in Division B in our first season just based on MMR, and now we are definitely off and running. So super excited to see. I love to see that passion, right? Because it shows so much about the individual characters of the players, which is so important as they move forward in life. They're like, hey, you know, maybe we don't think we should be in here, but we're not going to complain, right? We're going to go out there and show who really is the best player or the best team, and show our worth. And obviously, you know, both these teams are looking at, you know, winning one, and they automatically get into that top 4 spot, right? Making it to winners finals means that you're one of the last 3 teams left. So, you know, you win this game, you get a top 4 spot, and then that you qualify for that December Fall Nationals major, where it's the best 12 teams from the entire 3 splits.
Yeah, and one of the things that shocked me too coming into this tournament as well is that Mewtwo dropped. And actually, you were talking about Slowpoke in the great MMR that they came in with, right? Or like the impressive gameplay in general. And yes, it is true that when Slowpoke matched up with Mewtwo, they took the series by a close one. One of the best actions that we have seen. That series was outstanding. So we're bound to see a lot more of that in this tournament. But it was a shocker to me to see this Mewtwo team fall to the losers bracket, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
They seem like they're on point. It's all it takes is one bad night or one good night for another team, right? The other team had to step up and take care of business too, even if they were making mistakes, and they did just that. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I see a rematch of that Slowpoke and Mewtwo, and if we see that, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope we do see it. I think both teams are playing without one of their best players. I think K-Frost is out with Slowpoke. He is unavailable. And I think Adam on Mewtwo is also not going to be playing tonight. But, you know, they both have 1 sub, and, you know, that's within the roster, and they're basically just as good. Probably just a little less because they're in that sub spot. But with that being said, it is incredible. I really hope, because I remember back, you know, I wasn't one of the casters. It was you and Box Turtle, Gray, and I was sitting just offset watching, you know, the production and hearing you guys speak and cast over it, and we were watching it on the casters feed because it's a big TV kind of in the background, and I was sitting there and I tweeted afterwards, and I was like, oh my god, this was one of the best games I think I've ever watched in any kind of Rocket League, whether it's RLCS or old Pro League, right, or RLRS. It was just an insane match. But I think we're going to take a short break. I think someone's internet might be broken right now. So instead of sitting here just talking to you guys all night, we're going to go to a quick break, figure out what's going on with the 2 teams, and then we're going to bring this match to you as fast as humanly possible. But stay tuned in. We'll be back shortly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fall Nationals, the October series with the playoffs. And unfortunately, we had a DQ, but we're moving on to the next round, and we have one of the best teams that we've seen in the brackets, the ones that we were talking about actually before this break here, which is Slowpoke, made up of Zin, Patty, and Corrosive, correct. I had to get it right because I know it's usually K-Frost, right? When I think Patty, I think the passing between Patty and K-Frost,
Absolutely.
They're outstanding. K-Frost not able to make it, but listen, Corrosive comes in and is going to be a key part of this. So we're super excited to get this matchup going. It is going to be a best of 5, and Tails, I want to hear your opinion on this game as well as we move into it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we just got a good look at the bracket there, and this is the winners finals, right? Best of 5.
That's right.
I think it's gonna be a great match. You know, I really hope Squirtle comes out and puts their entire effort and kind of keeps this close. Really, on paper, I think Squirtle really is kind of Slowpoke is kind of the clear favorite.
Yeah.
But you know, this is Fall Nationals, as we saw last season and in this season. Anything can happen, right?
Yep.
We can say, hey, this team was the clear favorite last season, and they ended up losing, right?
Yep.
We had, I think,
That's
the
right.
number 2 team last season overall that was really clear, like, hey, we're going to think it's going to be number 1 versus number 2 in that final. And number 2 went lost, and they were done. And it's like, geez, you know, so anything can happen, and that's super awesome. So I'm super excited to see this, and I hope it's a great match. You know, honestly, I'm going to pick Slowpoke. I think it's going to be a 3-1. I think Squirtle will get 1. I just think, you know, I've seen this 3 play together. You know, obviously with K-Fast, I think they are a little stronger.
Yeah.
But these 3, like, when I say a little stronger, it's like, yeah, you might be one of the best teams in the world, and not like you're like 2 slots higher.
Exactly.
So
it's give or take, like, and that's actually what you'll see in the gameplay too. Just give and take that little that little bit is going to be the difference between a goal and them being able to get back and make a save. Buying time on the defensive side of things when you see them start up and try to play defense. If they end up having numbers the other way, if your numbers are against you in the defensive zone, you'll see the minute just by seconds. If you can delay that, you'll be good to go. But we're underway. Game number 1. 5 minutes on the clock, and here we go. And
yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this game. You know, as we start here, just to preface, any newcomers, Bearlight is by far the expert in Rocket League compared to me. I'm here for the hype. I'm here to kind of lead the show from a question standpoint, maybe. But Bearlight, take this away. What do we see so far?
Right now we have Patty pushing in, and he has been one of the hottest goal scorers that we've seen in Fall Nationals for not only Season 1, but 2 as well, as Zin tries to step up and get a chance against Vortex, but he's going to play it softly, a chance, and Patty's going to have a free goal, but not until Roar steps over, and he's able to make the save. And right now we see a little bit of what we expect, which is Slowpoke jumping out to a quick start and getting that offensive pressure off quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. That first minute was 100% Slowpoke. I think we saw 2 decent chances come out. Nothing clear. I think, you know, Squirtle does have some good rotations going on in that defensive half. But here we go. Once again, Slowpoke is on the attack here, keeping it in that blue half, in Squirtle's half. As right now, kind of the ball is just hopping around the midfield. We're seeing both teams try to see what they can do from a controlling standpoint. But, you know, an early start, I think it's a better start for Slowpoke for sure, as we see a continued attack here. They're trying to piece together some great shot over top off the backboard. Might have been a pass, and we see a counter come out here from Squirtle.
And they try to start some offense here for the very first time, as this one will come off the wall, and Zin able to meet that chance from Rar. But they've been a little bit slower from the Squirtle side of things. They've been a little bit all over the place, maybe a little bit of nerves. They know who they're up against, right?
Yeah.
It's the notorious Slowpoke, or Eevee, as we remember from last month, right? When you see those names. Yeah, when you see those names, you're just definitely a little bit of nerves. You can't go against this team without thinking, hey, we're up against the world right now. We got to prove it. And they've been a little shaky so far on some touches, but they'll look to relax a little bit now, as up for it will be Corrosive off the back wall now, a bouncer. And anybody follow up on it? They can't, but a double comes out, and Zin able to beat him back. So now Patty has a chance if he goes off wall. He does. Tries to have it back down to him, but Vortex with a good touch. That'll force everybody from Slowpoke back, and a great job from Squirtle handling the defense right now, because we know that they've been on defense a majority of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think they've had a few chances on that Squirtle side, but not too many really at all. Even when those chances come out, it never looks like Slowpoke is under any real pressure. They're still calm. They're playing good defense. They're in those great defensive rotations. You know, it really doesn't. I haven't felt like, oh my God, Slowpoke might be scored on, right? And it's kind of the opposite for Squirtle, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think and a good shot out there, and a great save from Corrosive. That might have been the first real chance from Squirtle.
It was the first good grade A chance that they've had so far. Another one as well, but Zen able to fight it off as, you know, they look to still try to get some chemistry back. They're used to the three stack, right? The K-Frost in there as well. So, I mean, it's going to take them some time to get used to things, but these three have played together before, and we see them perform just at the same amount of energy and passion. Here's Vortex, a chance to shot, and it's going to be Squirtle that strikes first. It's Nando, and he puts them up 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a great kind of passing play there. It does look like Corrosive misses that corner touch.
Yep.
You know, that ball was kind of put right in front of him and really just skips past him. You know, I feel like Corrosive should have had a touch there, and if he does get that touch, that's probably not a goal.
Yeah.
But here we go. We are off. You know, Squirtle having that early 1-0 lead, and it's going to be on Slowpoke to counter here, right? And they do. Just like that, Patty comes up within about 10-15 seconds. Great little pass here off that back wall, and Patty reads this and he says, I got this, no problem. Puts it past two defenders, and here we are, tied up at 1 with about 1 minute and 40 seconds left.
And Slowpoke is such an emotional team too, and that's one of the things that you'll notice as if it's a low-scoring game, and this is just about everywhere in the high level of Rocket League, and this is where emotion comes into the gameplay, where you see them, they could be like a solid 4 minutes before anybody scores at all. They cannot figure out the defense.
Yep.
But once you get scored on, it's like, hey, we got to strike back. They did, almost taking the lead there too, as they'll keep the pressure on now over to the corner. This one's going to float back, but Corrosive able to get to it first. So quick to get up. Here's another touch. Oh, almost gets the double, but that one's going to go through the box and out. Here's Zen. Going to try to backtrack on this one, though, and they'll get to reset. Here's Corrosive. Trying to go off backboard. He will, and Vortex not able to get a touch. Everybody's scrambling. This is their chance. It should be wide open over to Corrosive, but luckily Vortex staying back. And that's just sound defense. Great job there.
Yeah, that was a little close there. For a second, the net was open for just a second as a couple players whiffed there. But, you know, we do see a quick defensive rotation back by Vortex, and he does save that chance. But really, I mean, now, like you just said, they're playing off their emotions, and Slowpoke, just as we're saying, they're feeling it now, right? They score once again just about a minute after they scored their first goal, and now it's 2-1 in favor of Slowpoke with about 40 seconds left. And I mean, that last minute was 100% Slowpoke.
Yes, it was. Just like the first minute was too, right?
Absolutely.
So they kept that momentum going after the first minute of promise there. And although they went down early, they were able to hang with it. And 2 unanswered goals has them up. And with just 34 seconds left in this game number 1, as we'll see now, Squirtle trying to come back down the field. They looked a little bit panicky on that defensive chance across, but a great job from Zen on what we call a back check in hockey to get that demo, making sure that they're not able to get to them. That was great. That was a great job from them. Playing that defense.
And here they are. They're playing pretty controlling defense right now. Zen's carrying it out. And this actually might be, Vortex just gets there. For a second there, I was like, this might be pretty nutty. Let's see what Squirtle can muster up here. They got to keep the ball off the ground now. Gets a little bit of a clearance there into that corner. The ball's up in the middle of the pitch. This looks like this might land on the ground, and it does. And Slowpoke takes game number 1, 2-1. Pretty close goal. Any takeaways from that?
I would say if you're Squirtle, hey, well done, because it looks like Slowpoke had a majority of the offensive chances, majority of the offensive time of possession as well. They kept it strong, and for Squirtle to not only keep it that close, right, that 1-goal game, but at the same time, they went off and they took the lead to start things off. That is confidence. They're actually looking pretty strong compared to a Slowpoke team for what it was, which was playing a lot of defense. But that comes with the counterattacks that they launched as well, helped them out and put Slowpoke kind of in the backwards motion instead of thinking forwards. And so my take would be, although it's not the result you want, it's definitely a good sign for Squirtle because we thought Slowpoke was going to take it to him early and often.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the stats here, I mean, it's pretty even, like you were just saying, right? Slowpoke with 6 shots. You know, my personal metric is shots, right? How many offensive creations did you get in that game, right? Slowpoke had 6 and Squirtle had 4. So, I mean, that's pretty similar. You know, obviously +2 to Slowpoke, but that's not a big difference. You know, usually we're looking at like at least double or maybe just under that double mark to be like, hey, you know, they were clearly the better attacking team, but pretty even here. But if you're Squirtle right now, Bearlight, what would you be telling your teammates right now to be like, hey, what do we need to to change or improve on so we can go out and take game number 2?
Definitely. Their communication was on point on the offensive side of things. When it came to the defense, it looked like a scramble. And sometimes, you practice, right? You get on the field and practice, whether it be a scrim or going into ranked or whatever you need to do to practice for these upcoming games. And it looked from a standpoint that they looked a little bit off. But if that's the case, you need to communicate. You need to tell your defense where you are. It looked like they got a little bit caught up on the back wall together. There was a lot of double commits, triple commits. The fact that that Slowpoke was only able to expose them twice is actually lucky for them. So I would be focusing on defensive communication. You got to get to your team and tell them, if you are in net, you tell me you're in net. How much boost do you have? Let me know. Be detailed, be short with your communication, and we'll see if they can do that. As we get a fresh pitch for you here, looks like we need a new setup. So we'll do that real fast. But that's what I would say is if I was Squirtle, right? Because you did everything right from a standpoint of going against this top dog, the one that we've been talking about the entire time. So I would say some defensive communication. You're not going to fix rotations like halfway through your gameplay.
That's
right?
like, hey, let's just redesign our entire offense for defense like at the drop of a hat. Right?
Exactly.
Not really going to do that. So it's those little things, right? Enhancing communications, maybe being a little more specific. You said I totally agree there, and that's what we're trying to really kind of work on with a lot of these high schoolers is communications, right?
Yep.
All these kids are 17, 18 years old, and they've had some practice, but not a whole lot, right? And here we are rebuilding that lobby right now, so we should be back in just a minute or two. I think everyone's back in the match. We might be getting started shortly, but totally agree. I think, Slowpoke a little faster, a little better in their rotations, and probably a little bit better in their communications as well, and that's what led to that 2-1 victory. Although it looked kind of close from a score line and a stats perspective, like we said, and a good, probably 3.5 to 4 minutes of that game number 1. They were pretty dominant. It was just, Squirtle kind of held strong and limited some of those chances that did come out.
Definitely. And it's very hard to approach a game in the bend but don't break strategy, especially when you're going up against Slowpoke. It's not going to work for you for a full best of 5 series. So it's going to be more communication. That's all that you can fix, because you're absolutely right. We talk about communication all the time in these fall nationals and winter breaches and all of these recruitment leagues that we're doing as well. By the way, we do have winter breach, which was for Siege as well. So in addition to Rocket League, which you're seeing right now, we have some recruitment leagues going on throughout the holiday season as well, I believe. So, but communication is key, and that's part of every game that we see here.
Yeah, absolutely. Winter Breach does that's our other game that we are currently doing, and we are planning to expand into the other major titles in esports like League of Legends and more. But same thing. There's that general trope of like, hey, communication's everything, right? If you can't talk efficiently to your teammates, you're probably not going to win too much. Right?
Absolutely.
But here we go. We do have game number 2 on the line. We do have that lobby rebuilt. And here we go. About 10 seconds in, and Squirtle seems to be on an early attack. And we'll see if they can take this into anything special as Corrosive goes up the wall here, takes air carry, tries to get a flick over, but doesn't as Squirtle clears it back down to the other end of the pitch.
Roar with a great job to read on that one and step up here, but Zen from the back wall now. It's good to see Squirtle jump out into some offense because we didn't see a whole lot of it last game. They did get a goal out of it, though. They were the first one to strike, actually, in Game 1. If you're just joining us, we're in Game number 2. It is Slowpoke with the 1-0 lead in the best of 5 series. As Patty will go to the ceiling for this one. Tries to get a touch, but it'll be Nando that's able to clear it out temporarily. Corrosive right back in. But again, Vortex was strong. We called his name a lot of times in the defensive side of things in the Game number 1. And he continues to be that presence here in Game number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see kind of like that specialist mentality in Rocket League from time to time, right? Of like, hey, Rocket League's a very rotational game. Everyone kind of has to be able to play in all those positions. But, usually there's at least 1 or 2 players that are like, hey, I'm more defending-minded or more attacking-minded, right? And you kind of build your team identity off of what you have on your roster. And Vortex is definitely one of those defended-minded players, seemingly, at least from this match, right? Maybe they put him in that role this time for whatever reason, but it does definitely look like Vortex is that defending minding. As Slowpoke does get a good attack going here, a ground shot there, but there is 2 people in net. They're like, yeah, you're not going to get that one. Reread that, which is great on Squirtle's side, as they do have played some good defense. A pass in the air here, just a little slow to the ball here. A follow-up from Corrosive. Let's see what he can do with this. Off the backboard, is there someone there to follow up? There is, but a little late. And that ball's just going to be bounced off the wall, cross back in the middle, and no one to follow up. Right there was the opportunity, oddly enough.
Yeah, but it seemed like Squirtle's defense, Vortex actually misconnecting there for the first time. They weren't reading it, but sometimes you have to be ready because if that situation applies, there's going to be a wide open net that you can tap it into. So they weren't able to take advantage of that, but we still see an even game here for the most part, as it'll be Zen trying to come across, but this one again will go back and forth, and it's just prompts to the Squirtle team. Not only are they doing a great job, but they're actually forcing Slowpoke to double take sometimes, which you don't see very often from this team.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, going back to that point earlier of that one slight miss from Vortex, at this level of play, you don't expect that in the attack. You're like, hey, you know, we're a little slow to that, right? We weren't able to capitalize on that chance. So you're just going to back off and go to your defensive rotations when, in reality, if you did press a little harder, it probably would have been an easier goal. But that's the point of being at this high-level play, is that, you know, you kind of have to expect the other team in situations because, you know, if you do kind of commit and they're like play normally to their ability, then it's an easy counterattack as well. So there's an interesting balance there for sure. But here we are about 2 minutes left, and it is still 0-0. You know, both teams, I think, have had some decent attacks. I will still give it to Slowpoke just a little bit on an advantage if I had to pick one team, but it's so close that it's really hard to tell who's going to pull this out. You know, honestly, the part it comes to, you know, which team makes that deadly mistake that ends up costing them a goal, because I see this going to be a 1-0 game right now.
You're exactly right, and, you know, I see that applies for both sides here, because we didn't, like, Slowpoke has been putting on the offensive pressure, yes, but it's been incredibly even, and their defenses continue to be stout. We were talking about how it come down to one mistake might do it. I think you're absolutely right. Last time it was Squirtle with the mistake. If they can actually capitalize on this one, here's it off the back wall, but Corrosive's so quick. He's up to the ceiling on that back wall to get that save. A shot, and it goes through in Roar. Coming up big with a 1-0 lead with just 1 minute and 8 remaining, and Squirtle on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Great read there from Roar off that pass from the midfield. And they were just, like we were saying, that one little mistake. They were caught out of that defensive rotation just briefly, right? Both players were kind of in mid-rotation back to the net, and they just weren't there in time. And great job on Squirtle's side to get that one goal. But as we saw last time, Slowpoke did answer in like 15 seconds. So I will not be surprised at all if they do answer quickly here and push this to a 1-1 game.
I would not either. We saw it the last time. Remember, keep in mind, in game number 1, like you said, Squirtle jumped out to the start, and it was Slowpoke that answers quickly. I think a quick answer is definitely what the doctor ordered for this Slowpoke team, because they need to get on the board quickly. Not only is there only 38 seconds remaining, but again, if you let Squirtle get into a groove, it's going to be tough to break him out of it. So we'll see if they can do it, as Corrosive will try to jump on this one, but a good touch from Vortex to try to get it away. With Patty into the offensive zone now. That's off the wall where he can't handle it, but Zen gonna follow it now. But Vortex up to get that one, so Zen forced to kind of turn on this one, get a touch over to Corrosive, but again, back over to Vortex. He'll play it in the zone and kill plenty of time. Well played from Squirtle here, trying to kill that time, get it into the offensive zone. Now it's down to 9 seconds left. Okay, we're back out yet again, and it was Slowpoke that was pressed up hard because they need to. Time's running out. A second left. They need to keep it in the air now. Corrosive does. It'll be off the back wall. Vortex gets a touch, but Zen's so quick to get over. Can they get this touch? They can. It stays up, but they'll kill it, and Squirtle takes game number 2 by what you said it would be, 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. This really is a defensive series right now with only, 4 goals scored through 2 games. Obviously very defensive. Looking at the stats here, they're really quite even. You know, we have 4 shots on Squirtle to 2 on Slowpoke. So Squirtle kind of figured out that defensive rotation. Maybe it was the answer was comms. We're not really sure because we don't hear their comms. But, you know, they did figure something out there, right? Whether it was a defensive rotation, maybe a little bit of a different strategy, a little bit of a different adaptation to Slowpoke's play, and they come back and win 1-0, and it's going to be interesting to see who can bounce back, right? I always talk about mentality, right? Mentality in esports is so important because esports largely is a mental game, right? Comparatively to traditional sports, right? You don't have to be 6'8" and run a marathon, right? Like for basketball or any other sport, right? It's very mental, right? Obviously, you still need that dexterity, still need that, you know, those finger skills, as I like to call them. But you need that mental fortitude. So we'll see if Slowpoke can kind of reset, figure out maybe what they did, you know, poorly that game, and kind of bounce back from there. But, you know, I'll flip the question that I asked last time in the game 1. What does Slowpoke need to do? Did you see anything in particular like, hey, you know, they're not doing this good?
Yes. So Slowpoke, their team chemistry is on point. You actually said it like about halfway through. It's going to come down to one mistake, and you also said that Slowpoke was doing very well, and actually might have had a slight advantage throughout a majority of that game. So what went wrong? So I would definitely say that you need to put out of the back of your mind that, hey, if K-Frost was here, we would be playing a little bit differently. Sometimes, like we said, mentality. It's one of the reasons why I didn't gravitate to regular sports. I gravitated to esports, right? Because I'm not 6'8". I don't have a six-pack, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's all a mental game 100%, and that includes saying, hey, K-Frost may not be here, but we're the better team. We're showing it on the pitch. Now we just need to convert. We need to find some more passing. So we'll see if they can do that as we begin in game number 3 with the series even. That's huge for Squirtle as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And right there, just off that, we did see a pretty decent passing play. Unfortunately, they did not connect on the end of that for an opportunity as Corrosive tries to flick over here. Oh, and just off the crossbar, just underneath it, but not quite underneath it enough, as that was a pretty impressive solo play there from Corrosive. But an early chance for Slowpoke like we've been typically seeing. And, if they keep up this style of pressure and this style of chemistry again, maybe they're playing a little mad, right? Which is good, right? Playing a little angry is never a bad thing because it kind of heightens that determination, right? Obviously, you don't want to play tilted, but, using that to kind of fuel your determination. And, we've all felt it before of like, hey, I know I'm better. I know I can play better than I'm playing right now. Let's get back into the next game and win this, right? Whether it's the next game or the next inning or the next quarter or the next play, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
I think that's kind of where Slowpoke is right now, as that does trickle in over a defender from Corrosive. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but Slowpoke does take the early lead 1-0. Like, this just... What?
It was a pinch off the corner, and Corrosive, all he was trying to do there was center the ball, but it pays to be lucky, right? You got to be good to be lucky. You got to be lucky to be good. So we've heard that phrase, and it applies right there as Corrosive able to make it 1-0. And I guess Squirtle just got caught by surprise. Weren't expecting that to go on net.
Absolutely. I've never heard that saying before personally, but that might be my new favorite saying.
Awesome.
To be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. I totally agree with that. And that kind of just is the story of that goal, right? It was a great play from Corrosive, but that was never really, targeted to be a goal, right? It was targeted to be a pass. Dumped down in front of net for someone else to follow up. But we'll see if Slowpoke can continue this momentum through the first 2 minutes of this round, and maybe score another one to lengthen their lead over time. As this is kind of dumped down into the corner, Patty is following us up, misses. Zen is there, gets a double demo. They demoed each other, I believe. Little weird there, but the ball is kind of sitting in the middle of the pitch right now. Corrosive does get there, kind of still hovering there, and Corrosive looks like he's going to get to this ball, puts it in the corner, tries to follow up there. The ball looks like it's going to float in front of net, but Slowpoke's like, hey, we have the lead. Let's play a little more passive. No need for double commits or anything. And right here, a good shot coming up off the crossbar and a ground pass, and there it is. Great team play there, right? That passing is really good. It's on point right there. They're playing together. That team chemistry is there, more so from last time. And Zen is right in that perfect position, reading that ball, understanding what his team is trying to do. Communication is probably there. Or even, at some level, it's not even comms. It's just like, hey, we've practiced so much together and played so much together. We completely understand where our teammate's going to be.
You're absolutely right there. You actually hit it on the head. It was a good combination of communication because Zen says, I'm on the left side. And that's all you need to say, and you know where you're at. Is a shot from Corrosive. Able to get off the crossbar and follow it up to know exactly where that's going to go. That is an impressive play from Corrosive. Let's look at that one again. Able to just jump in. Uses the crossbar to send it back down to himself for a 3-0 lead. That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those plays, that double touch off the back. It's something that I always kind of like to see as a spectator of this esport. But that was great. Great play. 3-0. This is pretty commanding, right? Slowpoke looks like a completely different team from last game, right? Even from game number 1, right? I think they're playing way better right now. Maybe they came into this match like, hey, Squirtle's is a Division B team. This isn't going to be anything hard, and they kind of got took that first punch to the mouth and like, hey, okay, this team's actually pretty good. Let's let's be determined. Let's refocus. And right here, they're kind of just commanding this game as almost there off the crossbar again. What is that? The 4th crossbar of this one game?
It has been. They've been all over it, and they've been putting the pressure on. It goes back to the one where Zen finished it when he was on the other side, where it went off crossbar and out, where they got the follow-up chance from Zen, and being there and just Annihilation. Bombardment on the goal now. Zin's got his second one. It's 4-0.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like we were just saying, Slowpoke looks like Slowpoke at 100%, right?
Yep.
And that can be a slow start, them just kind of underestimating their opponent, right? We've all been there in any competition. There's those things you look across the table or look across the pitch, you're like, yeah, I got this, and you get that slow start, get an early deficit or not playing as good. But they're like, hey, let's play to our full potential. Let's kind of refocus, play as hard as we possibly can, and look, now they're up 4-0 with a minute left in game number 3, and it's looking like if they play like this for the rest of this game and into game number 4, I don't see they're not going to come across any issues. They're clearly the better team when they're playing this style of Rocket League, but at the same time, Squirtle might pick it up as well.
Yes, see, Squirtle has showed signs of life. Not only that, hanging in game number 1 after getting bombarded the same way they are here in game number 3, but they took game number 2. Ever so important. So, like you said before, to start things off, as you see a flip reset, and Aurora try to jump out to get a bump. Interesting move. Now it's actually Squirtle putting on a little bit of pressure before Corrosive trying to kick out again, but Nando right there. That's a cross that's not the best touch, but with Corrosive able to jump back, and actually it's Vortex missing here. That should be a tap-in. Yeah, Nando's just going to drop back. He knew that they were beat. It was such an awkward angle, but that's sometimes what you do when you have that intimidation factor. It's just sometimes things just cannot go right for you. Like when it rains, it pours, and unfortunately that's been the case for Squirtle right now. Is Slowpoke just getting the balls quicker? They're using the backboard in a great fashion. They're using passing to get around the defense. It's been a spectacle so far. We can see, like we said to kick things off, that any team can beat at any team at any point in time, especially in the top 3 divisions, and even the 4th one. Like we could say that they still have a chance.
Absolutely, they still do.
But it's just been Slowpoke dominating here in game number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they are kind of playing to their potential here. And I'm really interested to see what happens in game number 4, right? I think that first minute is going to be very telling, right?
Yep.
Usually it is, but I think it's even more so now, right? Because it's that question, can Squirtle mentally reset and come out attacking and be like, hey, we're still here. That last game was just a bad game on our side. We're still just as good as y'all from, obviously evident from games number 1 and number 2 with only a 1-goal difference in. But that's what they need to do, right? That is what is in front of them. If they don't accomplish that, then it'll easily be probably another 5-0.
Yeah, it can easily go that way, especially with the pressure they've been putting on. But the thing is, Squirtle has to get back to what they were doing in game number 1 and 2. They jumped out to a quick start in both of those games. Although they did end up dropping game number 1, they did take game number 2. But the key factor was, the reason they kept it so close was they struck first. They got that first goal. When you get that momentum going early, it kind of puts a little bit of a mental game into Slowpoke's head. Remember, they're missing K-Frost right now. But at the same time, are they really? Because Corrosive with 2 goals in that game as well. So absolutely. I think Corrosive is finally finding his place. They don't practice nearly as often as K-Frost in this rotation, so I think they're finally finding a stride. I think Slowpoke takes this. I think you might be right with the 3-1 because Squirtle looked and had some promise, but I think Slowpoke is a little bit too much to handle at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Corrosive kind of finding his groove, like you said. Obviously, being in that sub spot, you're not practicing quite as much. I think there's a pretty close, tight knit friends group in this team as well. They probably play some ranked together, some online play. And it just usually, at this level, it takes a game or 2 to kind of figure out, hey, where is my role, right? What is my positioning in those rotations? And once you kind of figure out where you're supposed to be, then obviously with the skill that Corrosive has, you kind of just go straight into it with no issue at all. As we see, just some back and forth play here to start the game number 4 off. Looks like, Squirtle is on an attack here. Good save there. Good touch back.
Oh my goodness!
This is going to be an early goal from Roar to take a 1-0 lead. And just like we were saying, this first minute is so important. And Squirtle takes advantage of it, makes it 1-0. Just about 20 seconds into the game, and now the ball's in Slowpoke's court.
Yeah, it was great to see it. A little bit of a lucky bounce off of Nando. But Vortex staying in there and realizing that the bounce is about to happen is all about anticipation. So great recognition there to tap it back to a teammate. Rather than attempting a shot that would have been saved, that back pass, that fine tune, that little bit like we were talking about to start things off again. And they were able to get around the defense here, and they've done what they've did in game number 1 and 2, and that start off with the lead. But Zen trying to strike back now. It'll be Corrosive up next, but Rar with a great job to get up quickly to challenge that. Otherwise, Corrosive had a run of show there. as they try to continue to press in, but it'll be Zin. For this one now, we'll get one touch past the defense. Vortex, the last man back, tried to, but not able to accomplish it. And Vortex up to get a touch. It'll be left for Nando, who will jump and use the sidewall to try to play it past. Gets one touch, but no intended target on that one, unfortunately. And a demo will actually free it up, and Squirtle will put it down the field. Game number 4, 3 minutes and 38 seconds left, and a 1-0 lead for Squirtle.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're seeing some better passing plays come out from Slowpoke right now. But, I mean, honestly, Squirtle looks like they're in a little more control right now, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing some good controls from Slowpoke into that midfield, but then they kind of get lost. You know, it doesn't look like they have quite the attacking prowess that they did last map. And we'll see if this continues or not. As Patty takes this off the wall, dumps it into the quarter. Good clearance there as Zen is on the receiving end of this back into the midfield. And like that right there, you know, typically last game, we were seeing them clear that to a teammate, right? Passing it out from the back rather than just putting it back for Squirtle to kind of do whatever they want with it. Yep. Great flick over there. Still really just back and forth, right? This is kind of just some, you know, open Rocket League right now as both teams are trying to still feel each other out, see what different, you know, strategies or tweaks they're trying to employ in the game right now as we approach the halfway mark in game number 4.
Yes, and it's been a great job from Squirtle, like you said. Definitely more controlled as far as rotations goes. They have a chance here, but the shot goes well wide from Roar. Vortex with the follow-up chance. A shot. Oh, it goes just high off the crossbar, and Zin will try to take it out, but not before Nando up for this one. Tries to get a read, but they missed. But they weren't able to read it, and Roar had a chance as well, but it'll be Patty that steps up on this one. But point I was getting at there was that as the shot comes through, that one's going to find its way in. Yeah, Zin able to find a hole in the defense, and right when I was about to say that Squirtle had it a little bit figured out on some defensive rotations, a breakdown there, and Zin able to tie it at 1 here with 2:16 remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, we've been saying this entire series, you know, Rocket League at some point becomes a game of mistakes, right? As all high-tier competitions do, right? Doesn't matter esports, traditional sports, any other competition, right? Those little tiny mistakes in this level of play are going to be punished by the other team, right? Yep. And it's just trying to isolate that and create that. And right there, and I think they're just caught just a little bit of rotation. Great ball there from Zen to put that in the lower left corner. Really the only place he could have put that to score, as there was a defender not too far away. But we are 1-1 right now with just under 2 minutes left. I'm excited to see what happens here, see what team kind of capitalize on whether it's good play or mistakes or anything else. This is a really great game of Rocket League. I'm just super excited that I can be here casting it.
It is a spectacle to see, and we knew it was going to be right. It's the winner's final. Yeah, we knew it was going to be entertaining, but it's been a great job from Squirtle to keep it close. But now it's back out as with 1:25 remaining. You have to imagine that Slowpoke has got in their minds that they want to finish it now. If they end up losing this game, then the tilt goes right back. Their momentum goes right back to Squirtle, who's done everything right as far as keeping it close against this stacked team. But Squirtle has definitely done a great job of kind of slowing down the pace here, because if you see a fast-paced game, it usually goes in Slowpoke's favor. You saw the 5-0 advantage, the 5-0 tilt in the last game, so Squirtle trying to keep things not at a higher pace, instead slow things down and try to calculate things out. They've been doing a great job here with a minute left. That's why they're hanging on to dear life with 48 seconds remaining here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is going to be a great 45 seconds to play here. It is 1-1. I honestly think we're about to go to overtime. Just how level the play's been for about a minute now. You know, we haven't really seen any clear opportunities until now. Just a little slow there, not enough boost. And I think it was Corrosive gets that clear there as they put it into the midfield. Patty here to follow this up, does not get there quite and fast. Zen puts it into the corner, that's going to bounce up, drift over goal. Let's see what Zen can do this. Is there someone there to follow up? There isn't quite in time, but they put the ball back on the backboard. No one there again to follow up to try to put that in net, back across net. And, you know, this is really kind of just a defensive showcase from Squirtle right now. There was 3 or 4 pretty great passes in front of net there, and they kept that ball under control the entire time. Almost caught out on a clearance right there. But that ball is going to land, and here we go. We go to overtime, our first overtime of the night in game number 4.
And our hard skip there is Slowpoke almost let that one slide in to go to a game 5, but instead they're going to look to press here and end it now. Here's Zin. He'll try to press in. Here's Patty off the back wall and follow up, but a miss, unfortunately, from Corrosive. Cannot be there, and now Zin, the last man back, will get a touch, but it's going to be a good follow-up here, but Patty able to easily jump on this one, and now Zin trying to press in a shot, and what an angle from Patty, and he'll end things in game number 4 with a clutch overtime angle and a 2-1 victory and a 3-1 victory in this series. Great shot from Patty to end things here.
Absolutely, that was just an insane angle. That's just that hype moment. That's like that is an overtime winning goal right there,
Yes.
right? You know, that isn't even a mistake on Squirtle's side. That's just an incredible play from Slowpoke, right? And we've seen both all series, but Slowpoke does take this 3-1, and it really, I mean, by stats, just an even game all around, right? You had Slowpoke with 5 shots, Squirtle with 4, and obviously, you know, Slaves and assists and goals were pretty close to each other in that 2-1 score line. Absolutely great match to start off with, right? Didn't go the full distance, but we got a 3-1, and it felt like we kind of did go the full distance for that last overtime. So super awesome there. Congratulations, Slowpoke, to making it into winners, or making it through the winner's side of the bracket and taking that top spot in the grand finals, which we all know is super important in double elimination, because now that loser, you get a break, right? You probably can go, you know, get some water, get a healthy snack, maybe even work out. You probably have an hour before we can get through the rest of the loser's bracket, and that's great. You can mentally reset, relax a little bit, not be so tired, be ready to go, and there's bracket reset in play. So you have to lose 2 best of 5s to lose out, right? So we'll see. Maybe they make it back-to-back champions, season 1 and season 2. That would be something incredible.
It would be incredible to see. And a quick comment here: Slowpoke looking so great. We knew it was going to be that type of goal to end things. It had to be because of the tight defensive play.
Absolutely.
So we'll continue to see a whole bunch of that here on the Fall Nationals as well. And of course, we'll be coming back with I believe the losers final. Is that correct?
I might
back to you now.
Not quite sure. It's either going to be the losers semifinal or the losers finals. We'll see what's queued up right now. I'm not quite sure where losers bracket is right now. But we are going to be going to a short break as we figure out what that next match is. But we're going to be bringing you more Rocket League, more high quality amateur Rocket League, specifically in high schools, just shortly here. But stay tuned, stay plugged in. We'll be back shortly. Hello and welcome back to Fall Nationals. We do have a game lined up on the losers bracket. Obviously, we have finished that winners bracket. We do have Team Slowpoke sitting in that winners slot in the grand finals, and we're here to find out who's going to make it all the way through losers bracket, right? We are going to losers quarterfinals, right? That obviously losers bracket's always a little bit delayed because we have to wait for people to lose from the winners bracket, obviously, to make it into losers bracket. So we are in losers quarterfinals to give you guys a good look at what the rest of the night's going to look like. We do have this game. We're going to go straight into the losers semifinals and then straight into the losers finals there's teams waiting to be played. So the winner of this already has a team waiting for them, and then the winner of that next game already has the loser of the last game, Squirtle, waiting for them as well. So it's going to be best of 3, then another best of 3, and then another best of 3, casted by me, Tails, and Bearlight next to me, back to back to back, and then into the grand finals from there. But I'm super hyped to be here. We do have a great match in front of us, Miss Drevis versus Metapod, and Miss Drevis is one of my teams as one of the Fall Nationals coach. They've been having an insane season so far, undefeated from Division C, and they're making a run. The Division C team undefeated, looking at a great run. As we see the bracket pull up here, you guys can get a good look at where everyone stands. Obviously, we are in that third column in that losers bracket, that lower half, here with Ms. versus Metapod, and they're going to advance and play the winner of, I'm not quite sure, but then the winner of that game will play Squirtle. But it does look like all the players are ready in the lobby, so we'll be getting this game shortly. But Bearlight, give me a prediction. Who's going to win this match?
So an obvious answer would be, hey, it's Metapod, right? They're in the higher division, right? They're definitely going to take it to them. No, momentum is everything. We talked about how tightly these divisions are, and one of the things that we highlighted was team play and stout team play. And one of the things that we do see, one of the teams that we do see it from is a well-coached team. If you don't mind me saying here, with your team with Miss Drevis, a solid team. I'm gonna go with them, not only because it's technically the underdogs, but they have some really strong players, including Mellow Mighty, who we saw just a week ago, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago. But he was just outstanding in that. I think it was actually last week, but he was just great, all over the field, able to do all the right things, and it was a close series that they pulled out. So I'm gonna say that they pulled this one out 2-1. I know that they're gonna battle, but I have to go with Miss Drevis, and I have a feeling feeling that you might do the same, seeing as you coach them.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't go against my own team.
That would be wrong. Yeah.
I think we have a little bit of caster bias going on here.
Both
Both in favor of one team, and there's one coach in here. But the players are hopping into the lobby here. Let's go, Misdreavus. Let's see what they can pull off. Super excited to see how they can perform. And from here, I believe they might be competing for a top 4 spot, depending on how that bracket plays off.
Yep.
This actually might be the 2 losers of the 2 loser semifinal matches might have to play each other off stream, sadly, to decide who's that number 4 spot, as Slowpoke already qualified from last season. So then we just bump it down. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we do 2, 3, 4, 5. But after the first 20 seconds here, we just see the ball kind of pinging back and forth, both teams trying to feel each other out. You know, that's always kind of how any game goes, right? Is that first minute or so, you know, that first quarter or whatever that kind of first denomination is. It's just about like who is my opponent, how are they going to play, and how should I beat them?
And a great job as they try to press in. It looked like it was a good communication there as they dropped it over to Mello. But you make a solid point there. Who can jump up and have the best chemistry here is, again, Mello might be able to step over and make a good read there as a shot came on. Another one comes through, but Anxiety all over that one here. And Sai will try to play it down to a teammate, but none available. And Top Hat Matt will move it back out. A shot from Mello and a great save from Knight as he pushes it back out. But, yeah, we do see some great communication from Mello. Again, we both had the luxury of coaching this player. A very strong player. He's been very high on the spin voltage rating, too. Which is important, as he is also a senior, I believe. So he's doing big things here, and we like to highlight the seniors, of course, because we wanted to show you what they're all about as they try to move into a spot and maybe, you know, get some eyes on by colleges as they come through as well. So
yeah,
great to see him doing big things.
I actually do believe Mello is a junior. I do believe he is a junior. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. There is 115 players in Fall Nationals, so trying to memorize all the seniors is a little hard to do, to say the least. But I do believe he is a junior. But as like the recruiting process is always ongoing, right?
It is.
That's something that we kind of tell the kids continuously is like, hey, you know, it doesn't matter that you're not a senior. It doesn't mean that you can't be recruited. It doesn't mean that you can't start getting looks, right?
Exactly. Right.
While you might not be getting offers, you're still getting looks, right? You're on the radar of a lot of collegiate programs and recruiters for esports in general, and obviously Rocket League specifically here. But as we approach the halfway mark, really haven't seen too many clear chances here, right? Maybe a half chance here or there, but you know, both teams are playing really evenly, right? A really close game. Great defense, great defensive rotations. Both teams like, hey, let's not give up the first goal of the series. We don't want to put ourselves in a bad position or demoralize ourselves going into the rest of the series, as this is a best of 3 in the losers bracket. So this is win or go home, and obviously going down 0-1 in a best of 3 series, you put yourself in a hole. You have to reverse sweep. You have to win 2 games in a row.
Yes, which is very, very hard to do, especially when you get off to a good start if you're the other team. We see it happen before, but it's very clear. Like, I would say, I believe it's a statistic around 68% of times that you win. If you win game 1, you win the series. Nixie able to put one in for Metapod, and they take the 1-0 lead, as Metapod has a majority of the offensive chances starting things off. So it's only fitting that they are the first one to break through the defense, and they have the lead.
Absolutely. You know, I almost see that as a little bit of a mistake. It seems like I believe it was Anxiety had a read on that clearance, and then just kind of like just slightly mishit it, and it kind of just bounced off the backboard right next to him and just dumped down into the middle, right? And then obviously Nixie was just there to follow up, right? So kind of an awkward goal there, but nonetheless, one goal is one goal. No matter if it's the easiest goal in the world or the hardest goal in the world, it only counts for 1 point. So it is 1-0 with about a minute and a half left, and almost another goal from Nixie there as he almost takes it down into the ground pitch, but Mello was there to clear that. So super awesome for Mello there. But you know, this is up to my team, Misdreavus. They got to get some attacks going here. Haven't seen too many attacks that had any kind of real bite to them, so to say. So they got to figure out what those offensive rotations looks like and really start to counter here.
I definitely agree. They've been on Metapod has been on some straight offense. We saw Nixie take it to the net there to try to get that second goal, like with a purpose. So it's up to Misdreavus to try to find and match that kind of energy as the shot comes through. But that one will go wide, and Nixie having to backtrack on this one, and Mello would jump up on this one, try to go to the sidewall here, but Sai able to jump on that one as Top Hat Matt forced to just play it back into the hands of Nixie, but he will do the same. And not out yet quite for this Mischievous team. They still hang in the defensive zone. They're getting a little bit too comfortable. You're absolutely right. But a great trap game nonetheless. Nothing to take away from Metapod as they have a chance. But Mello, again, he's so quick in his anticipation to get out and make those blocks are outstanding. And he's going to keep it within arm's reach here with 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. This last 20 seconds is going to be very telling of how the rest of the series is going to go. Mischievous needs to make something happen, and they are still in their own half, as they've been for most of the game. You know, I think, you know, I've seen Mischievous do this quite a bit, where they try to play a little defensive and play on that counter, right? As we see a common theme in Rocket League and soccer. Obviously, Rocket League kind of being very similar. It's car soccer, basically, at its core.
Right.
And that's a common kind of strategy, right? Like, hey, let's soak up some pressure and then catch them on the counter. But that has not been effective here as they take the loss in game number 1, 1-0, right? And that's kind of been the theme all night, is 1-goal difference games, right? We had 2-1, 1-0, and then that exception, 5-0, and then a 1-0, and then another 1-0.
And
so
and you know, if you look at the shot count too, exactly even. Both teams with 5 shots, and it's been that way for there's been, I mean, obviously a couple of exceptions there in the first little matchup, but for the most part, it's been very even on the shot count and where it matters, which is on the scoreboard, right? Which is where Meta had the advantage. Metapod able to come out with a 1-0 effort here, as it was a great job from Mischievous to keep up with them. But like you said, they were very defensive minded. They do like to play that counter attack, which is not a very good counter per se for Metapod's strategy, which is trap game. Keep you stuck in the defensive zone, and you can't get a counterattack going when they keep you stuck. So a great job from Metapod to just keep true to their game plan, and although a very close one, mind you, against a Div C team, they're still able to take game 1, and they're only 1 game away from advancing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they do win this game. I'm pretty sure they do get a top 4 spot more than likely, which is great because you go play in that fall major in December, which is awesome to say the least. But like you said, you know, Mischievous wanted to play that counter game, and how do you counter the counter game? You play that trap game, right? And they did that so well because they do that by kind of their whole goal is to keep the ball in the attacking half, not necessarily to score, but to keep it in the attacking half. So like you never see that one player like get stuck in net, get stuck out of that offensive rotation, and allows for those counters, right? Rather, they're rotating around that midfield, just keeping it pinged into those corners, and usually you do that enough times, you're going to get a ball that kind of drops in front of net and someone to follow it up as well. So we'll see if Mischievous can bounce back here, right? We talked about mental fortitude the entire night. It's win or go home territory for Mischievous. They cannot lose a game for the next 2 games if they want to stay in the October bracket for Fall Nationals.
And I've seen Top Hat Matt play. I've seen Anxiety play, and I've coached Mellow Mighty, and I know for a fact that Mellow Mighty, his attitude is let's go out and let's get this W. Like, if it's a bad loss, tends to like hurt you mentally, right? You try to get out of that. You try to escape a fact of like, well, this is impossible. When you drop the game by 1, a totally different story. And that same drive that's like, we can't make it, is suddenly like, we got this. Let's get out here and let's show them and prove them what we have. We're shining some light on Div C. We're showing what this Division C is all about. That we're not the forgotten ones. But unfortunately, it's gonna be Psy that puts in the first one, and it's a 1-0 lead for Metapod.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that ball kind of just floats up. Another awkward clearance there. You know, someone went to clear the ball. They're not quite sure, and it kind of just pinged off another player, and the backboard seemingly floated up, and that really was the exact same way that Metapod, scored in the game number 1. So we'll see. Can Mischievous, you know, I've seen a little more potential here. I think they're playing a little bit better this game, and we'll see if they can continue this as they look to bounce back here, and they got to tie the game up, right? They got to score 100%. Obviously, you got to score to win. You can't win by draw. But we'll see what happens here as the ball kind of gets pinged down into their net, and this is going to go in from Nix. Great touch off that backboard. And, I mean, this is a long clearance. He follows it all the way. He clears it, follows it all the way up. Looks like Mischievous might be a little tilted right now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like they're rotating back, right? They're committing a little harder, right? They kind of said, hey, this defensive / counter strategy isn't working. Let's commit a little bit more. They got tilted a little bit seemingly, and now they've given up 2 goals in about 2 minutes. and they're down 2-0 in game number 2 in a win or go home situation.
Yeah, it's up to them to try to realize that their adjustments, although justified, are not working, to try to adjust to it. And try to work out something else. But that's so hard to do, especially mid-game and when you're down a game in the series. It is tough, but Nixie with a great job. Here's a chance, Sai, but Anxiety. That's a great way to get up quickly to get some defense here, but they're not at harm's way yet. Here's a shot again. That one's going to go far side, though, through the box and out, and Anxiety will step up on this one, try to play it down to a teammate. He will not be able to. It stays in that zone, and again, the trap game comes out from Metapod as another demo will allow them time for their second man to come in and force the challenge and keep it at midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, their trap game is kind of unbreakable right now, which obviously that's a successful trap game, right? If your trap can't be broken, it's very hard to lose those games, right?
Yep.
That's like what they're doing, right? They're just floating that ball in that, you know, attacking 20%, almost to say, right? Just from that midfield line until about that half attacking zone. They're just letting the ball kind of just stay there, right? And it's very hard to score there from there, right? That's a pretty long shot to say the least. And they're doing a really great job of that. You know, I don't know what Ms. Drevis' answer is to this, but they got to figure something out, something quick, right? 2-0 is not it's not a huge deficit, right? Not quite like soccer, although we call Rocket League car soccer. It is not quite like soccer where if you're down by 2, it's almost a for sure loss, right?
Exactly.
Rather, 2-0 is kind of like being up by a touchdown in football, right? You got to have a good drive and then capitalize, right?
Yep.
And that kind of, I think that's a better analogy because 2-0, you can turn this around pretty quickly once you figure out how to counter what Metapod is giving you.
And this
right
might
now.
be one right now. A shot, and Anxiety able to cut the lead in half with the minute 49. And they are patient. They're playing patient. A little bit of a double commit, but Mello able to jump up knowing that he needs to get the challenge. Anxiety was there anyway, so he waits for it to bounce out to himself. Wide open net. Hey, they're back within 1, just like we talked about.
Absolutely right there. They kind of broke that trap game. It looks like Metapod might be got like a little too sure of themselves. Like, hey, you know, we've been controlling this for 3 minutes now. We're okay. Maybe we'll just, you know, kind of back off and maybe even commit a little too hard, which seemingly they did. There wasn't someone in that defensive rotation. As Ms. Drevis, Anxiety tries to get a shot on net. It is saved, and it looks like they are countering quite efficiently right now. But Matt does go up and get that clearance. And right now it's kind of back and forth as this might go in, and just as I say it's back and forth, Nixie's like, no, you're wrong. I'm putting this in the back of the net, making it 3-1, and 3-1 with a minute 20, although possible, right? Yeah. You kind of have to have a 2-minute drive in football, right? We'll use that as an analogy for any mom or dad out there watching their kid play in fall nationals.
2-minute drill, baby. Yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
Quite literally, the Rocket League equivalent of the 2-minute drill. Let's see if Ms. Drevis has practiced this at all. You know, obviously we know people practice that 2-minute drill all the time. We'll see if we have a Rocket League equivalent of that in game number 2 in the losers bracket here. And as we both know, Ms. Drevis has to come back. They got to score 2 goals, force overtime. That should be their primary goal right now to try to get something back from here.
Yeah, and we have a chance now as they try to clear it out. Here's Knight. He misses. Here's the opportunity. Mello puts it far side. Can get to it. They can. Sai able to get over and make the save. That was a huge save because if that one goes in, again, they have plenty of time to work with. But now Sai not able to jump up on this one for Metapod, so now it'll be, again, Ms. Drevis with a chance to play it back down. Anxiety with a shot, but a good job to touch that one as that one was on target. So a great job to deflect that one and keep it away from the net for Metapod, but they're not out of harm's way yet. Finally, a good clear, and that will maybe just about do it here as they will try to kill some time. And sure enough, they're trying to keep that trap game alive, but Mello able to push out. If they can score here in the next 10 seconds, they might have a shot. Here's Top Hat Matt trying to make that happen now. A chance off the corner. That one's going to beat Mello, and that will do it. The touch to put it in. It is the nail in the coffin. It's Knight that puts it in for Metapod, and they'll be moving on to the losers semifinals. 4-1 in this matchup. Of course, garbage time up to come with the 6 seconds, but that's around the right lines. But can we give credit to this Division C team, coached by none other than Tails, right next to me? Ms. Rivas doing a great job to push deep into this tournament, but unfortunately, their tournament lives, at least for this month, are going to be over as they will drop to Metapod by the count of 2-0. A solid effort on both sides, but Metapod, just that trap game was just insurmountable. They could not find a way out of it, man. They could not.
Yeah, it was just too much. And kudos to Metapod there with having a really great trap game that through both games, right? It was really just unbreakable, right? Ms. Drevis only broke through once. But, like we said, Mischievous did a fantastic job. They're a Division C team, right? They went undefeated in Division C, but by ranking, there were 20 teams, right? 10 in Div B, 10 in Div A that were better than them. And I think they're going to place either 6th or 7th, depending on, just some game splits and that kind of, tiebreaker stats. But 6th or 7th, when you're supposed to finish at best 21st,
exactly.
That's a very successful October season. That's great on them. I'm sure there's recruiters that are like, hey, let's start following these players because that shows resilience. That shows a ton of great just overall resilience to really fight it through the entire season and have a great end of the season. But I do believe we have an MVP of that last match. Here, let's get it, Mr. Producer. Let's see who it is. And it is Nixie. He does get MVP. We saw his name quite a bit, didn't we, Bearlight?
We did. It was on the offensive side as well. He did a great job to facilitate, excuse me, facilitate things. He was great on the offensive end as far as organizing that trap game. Like we saw, he was the head honcho of that game plan because he was the one that the team was looking for when they needed a goal. Because granted, Mischievous was doing a great job to keep the defense at least somewhat intact there as Metapod tried to jump on some offense. But he was the one that was always the one they looked for when they needed somebody to break through. And so well-deserved for sure for Nixie, and he's able to pull off that MVP. Like I said, well-deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have the losers semifinal, another best of 3. It is going to be Metapod versus a team. I'm not sure what that team is right now, but we know it's going to be Metapod coming back on. We're going to go into a quick 4 or 5 minute break as we load up this next lobby. We need some water. We've just been talking for a lot, so we're going to grab some water. We're going to get this next lobby set up, and we're going to bring Fall Nationals October season finals back to you in just a few short minutes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fall Nationals. The October playoff picture is underway, and of course, we have seen some great Rocket League action to start things off with the stream, and we continue to bring you no less than some awesome matchups here. This next matchup is going to be the losers semifinals. The winner of this one is going to face off in the losers final here, and we have two of great solid teams. One of them, which I coach as well, it's going to be Mewtwo, and although they're missing one of their key players, Adam, they still have a solid team with Woozies coming in to sub in, and they have Osgod as well, which is actually one of the highest MMR players in the league.
I think he's the highest.
Right?
Pretty sure he is the highest. Yeah, absolutely. And right now on screen, we do have the October final bracket graphic to show you where we are. Obviously, we are having Metapod play Mewtwo. The winner of this is going to be playing Squirtle that we saw in the winners final earlier on stream. And in the winner of that is obviously going to be playing Slowpoke in the grand finals for a best of 5 in that grand finals match. And bracket reset is on the table. So if one of these teams can pull off an impressive run from the losers bracket, they have to go up into that grand final, win a best of 5, reset, and then win another best of 5. So we'll see if that happens tonight. Obviously, very, very impressive. I've only ever seen it once in all of the esports competitions I've ever watched for the last 3 to 4 years. I've seen quite a few across multiple titles. I've only ever seen that once. So that is very difficult to do. But nonetheless, we do have a game in front of us. Metapod versus Mewtwo. Obviously, Mewtwo, one of your teams. Tell me, who are you going with?
Yeah, I have to go with Mewtwo, right? And of course, part of that is the fact that I've coached this team, but also it's the fact that I've been able to have the pleasure to watch the talent on the pitch from this team has been outstanding. Cryptic is one of those players that strikes not only fast, but he will find the exact right place to put a pass. So he is able to strike not only quickly, but often. And although Adam is missing here, Cryptic has a solid connection with Osgod, who will be on the field. He is a force to be reckoned with, and although we did see a great performance, of course, out of Metapod, I think we talk about how solid Division C is, but at the same time, you're going from a Division C team, which, yes, can be in the playoff picture and was in the playoff picture until just now, but their speed is going to be a little bit slower than what they're about to be up against Mewtwo. So I feel like they might have a little bit of a disadvantage because remember, this is still a best of 3, right?
Yeah.
So they have to come out quick, and if they're just caught warming up in game 1, that's going to be an issue for them. I've got Mewtwo here in 2. Who do you have?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Metapod.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
I think Mewtwo, on paper, they are better. But I'm just a little worried that it is, they're putting that sub in, right?
Yeah.
And that's difficult, right? We see Slowpoke on the other side, right? The reigning champs. Their sub has been part of their roster for 2 seasons now, right?
Yeah.
Or about 4 weeks, right? This entire season. So there's more chemistry there. They're a little more warmed up. But unfortunately, I do think we have a player with some technical issues right now. So we are going to go to a quick intermission to try to figure out where this player is. And then from there, we're going to be back as soon as humanly possible. Once we get all 6 players back in the lobby, we're going to hop back on the cast and bring you Metapod versus Mewtwo. But until then, stay tuned. Welcome back to Fall Nationals. Unfortunately, we did have a forfeit in the losers semifinals. A player could no longer play for some personal reasons. So that's just the reality of bracket play. If that happens, there's no rescheduling. The bracket must go on. But just to clear that up, remember, winning the bracket doesn't really do much for you. The only thing it really does is just more visibility, right?
Yep.
The point of Recruitment League is continuous play, continuous improvement over multiple seasons, right?
Yep.
That's what's successful in Stay Plugged in that recruiting leagues like Fall Nationals, what we are in right now. But we are going to losers finals, which is a best of 3. We have Squirtle versus Mewtwo, and we're gonna get these players loaded in the lobby pretty quick as they're all ready and eager to play. They're like, hey, this is still a school night. We got to get some homework done at some point. Hopefully, they already got their homework done.
It's the responsible thing to do,
Exactly.
right? Yeah,
it's very responsible.
We're glad to see it, right? And of course, obviously, the school night. It's Friday, but the fact that they're out and ready to go, hey, that's a good sign. That's a good sign here.
No, absolutely. I love to see it. I love to see the eagerness. That's exactly kind of what we always endorse and promote within the students. So we do have the players loading in right now. But what's your prediction, right? We have Squirtle coming off, kind of a, 3-1 from Slowpoke. We know Mewtwo and Slowpoke had one of the best matches, probably the best match of October Fall Nationals, at least from a stream standpoint that we've seen so far. But Mewtwo is down a player right now. They have a sub right now. So take me through. Actually, 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go.
Hey, we're going to go through. And as we see the kickoff here and a quick start and a shot, but that one goes just high from Cryptic, and we'll look to continue this play, but we'll go ahead and get to the predictions as we see a little bit of a miscommunication here. We'll reset the lobby, so no worries. We'll get you right back to actions. Apologize to everybody with some technical issues, but we'll get a clean pitch out here. We'll get you a clean server, not a problem. So it'll just leave us more time for predictions, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Not quite sure what happened right there, but we are getting a lobby right now. Mr. Producer Man in the background, Suave, is doing a great job.
Yes.
So we'll have this up just shortly, but predictions, Mewtwo or Squirtle, who are you going with? I mean, I can probably guess, but you have the stage. Let's go.
Yeah, so this completely nullifies everything that I said last time, but I think Mewtwo's still going to pull this one out. I don't think it's going to be a 2-0 in this one, though. Squirtle showed a lot of promise the last time that we saw this team on the field against the Slowpoke team, right? That great team of Slowpoke, they were able to handle things, and of course, it was a 3-1, but they took a game, right? And Mewtwo, even without him, right? They saw a little bit of struggle. Again, one of the best series that we've seen so far. But Mewtwo struggled a little bit to get things kicked off and saw some struggle. And Squirtle showed some promise against it, and especially with Adam missing from Mewtwo. But I still say it's going to be a 2-1 for Mewtwo. Yeah. Who do you have in this one?
Just for the sake of, we got to take at least one on the other side unless we have a really good reason, right? So I'm going to go with Squirtle, and I actually do have a reason for that. I think Squirtle is here to prove a point, right?
Yep.
And I still am a little weary of Mewtwo just because they have a newer player in that sub slot, right? And that's just difficult.
Yeah.
It takes time for team chemistry. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're on a team, whether it's a game, a video game, a traditional sport, part of the workforce, part of teams at school, right, doing a group project, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get into that group setting, that team setting. So that's why I'm going to go with Squirtle here. We do have the players loaded in, so let's get them started here. Hopefully they're going to be starting in just a few seconds. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great match. This is the losers finals. Obviously, there's only 3 teams left right now. So with that being said, Squirtle, Slowpoke, and Mewtwo has all qualified for that December major. And obviously with Slowpoke already being qualified, there's 2 teams below that. The team that forfeited actually is going to get a spot because they made it that far in the bracket. And that 5th place match is actually happening off stream right now, which I believe is Misdreavus versus Typhlosion, I believe. Nope, not Typhlosion. I got that one wrong. I'm sorry. The admin's looking at me with the death glare right now. I'm so sorry. With Wheezing. It is Wheezing versus Misdreavus. So we'll see what happens there. But here we are. We are getting the losers final off. We're going to see, like I said, I expect a lot of kind of feeling out here. Good little chance there from Roar as Squirtle kind of takes an early kind of aggressive start. You know, I like the way they're playing right now.
They are.
But we'll see what Mewtwo can do in the meantime. Looks like they're gathering an attack here. Mewtwo is settling in this match.
Easy tap-in, though.
That's what? Hey, we should probably play some defense at some point.
Right. I'm not sure what happened there. Too pressed.
Ooh, that's a whiff.
You know what happened was an anticipation of a boom down the field there by a teammate on the Squirtle side. And so he took off down the field expecting that boomer to come out for a pass. And when you have somebody taking off down the field and the second person misses, the other person's going to be across the field in case it's a long pass. So nobody left back. That miss, unfortunate, but it happens. So now leaving it wide open net. We don't usually see wide open nets like that at this level of play, but sometimes when you make a mistake, that'll happen. And 1-0 with ease for Mewtwo right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a great start. It's a great start. That's everything you want. If you go up 1-0 the first minute in Rocket League, like, what else is better in the entire world? I can't think of anything at all.
Especially the best of 3 scenario, right?
Exactly, right? Because it's like, game number 1 in a best of 3 matters so much, right? If you win game number 1, right? I think you said 60% of the time you go on to win it.
Somewhere around
68%. Yeah, so close to 70%, right? I'll take those odds all day, any day, especially in a win-loss situation, right?
Definitely.
So definitely, you know, this is a great start right here from Mewtwo. Let's see if they can continue here. They are developing another attack as we look like we're going to be kind of just drifting in midfield right now. The ball's kind of just chilling. Nothing much is happening right now, but we do get a decent attack off the back where we have a player up. It is on net, and Osgod scores to make it 2-0. Really still early in the game. Not even 2 minutes have passed yet. Great kind of pre-jump there, reading where that ball is kind of going to go. Roar cannot get fast enough, and it really does look like you know, blue team Squirtle just isn't in those defensive rotations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of expect that there should be a player back. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels like they're a little slow right now. And that's really why it's 2-0 right now.
I believe so. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this just shows the potential that even missing Adam, one of their key players, what the actual goal scorer that they go to, like we saw in the last series, you always have your go-to with like Nixie, that we saw in the last series. He's the goal scorer, right? He's the one that you look for goal scoring. The fact that Mewtwo is up 2-0 in such a commanding fashion already spells trouble for Squirtle here. I think Mewtwo is definitely, they're not even at full potential because of that. They're still making adjustments accordingly, and they're still doing so well. So it is definitely Squirtle who has their hands full already. And we did say that they're coming off not quite the speed that they wanted to see in the last one, plus a DQ. You know, they weren't as prepared as they thought they were going to be coming up against this top-tier squad.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they thought maybe they had a little more time to watch their opponent, and they didn't. You know, there's a DQ. That's just an unfortunate part of bracket play. When a team can't play, you got to move on the bracket. So
exactly. Here
we are right now. The game's a little closer now. It seems like Squirtle is catching up. This game's been pretty even since the last time Mewtwo scored about 1 minute and 20 seconds ago. But saying that, there is an attack here. The ball's kind of floating in front of net right now, drifting into that left-hand corner. Cryptic centers it. Let's see, Oscar, no, that's not Whiskey, that's Woozy. Does get there, but unfortunately does not get the best of touches. As they move it back down off the backboard, Vortex does get there for a great clearance back into the other attacking half as Roar is there to follow it up. Let's see if he gets the second touch. He does, puts it into the corner, cannot get there fast enough, neither his teammate, and it looks like they're caught out once again. And the, I don't know if they were trying to be, be like, hey, we're definitely better than you there. But it looked like they had 2 pretty clear opportunities there, and they do not convert. So, but that also kind of like, hey, when you're trying to like go meme on someone and it doesn't happen, you get a little embarrassed. You're like, guys, maybe we should just score that next time.
Yeah, maybe we should focus a little bit more. Yeah,
exactly.
Because we know this Squirrel team is what they're all about too. We called Vortex's name a whole bunch in the first series that we covered. Vortex was great on the defensive side. He's one of those defensive-minded, like we said earlier in the stream. But another thing that we can touch on as well is that Osgod with the goal already in this one, and although his stats aren't exactly where we thought they would be, obviously probably not where he thought they were going to be either, being one of the top MMR players, but he's been doing great work. As another empty net here, can Roar get back to this one to defend it? No, Cryptic just going to 50 it in, as he's using a similar card to what I use, to be honest, with that orange-style Finnick. Hey, look at him go, man. But 3-0.
Maybe he's copying his favorite caster. We do know most of the kids in Fall Nationals kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but the word that kind of goes is like kind of glorify Bearlight. To some degree, they do like Bearlight a lot, which we're awesome to see Bearlight come in and take his time out of his day to come and cast for us. So it's super awesome to see that. And maybe that's kind of where the inspiration comes with a few tweaks. But it is 3-0 here after that goal. So this is pretty commanding, right? 20 seconds left. I don't think much else is going to happen this game. And Mewtwo is looking like it's going to be a real contender. As we know, Squirtle, 3-1, a fairly close match, right? Except for that one game out of that 3-1 loss. It was fairly close. So it looks like Mewtwo is going to put up a fight, and we might see a potential bracket reset quickly. As you know, this game is now definitely officially over, as obviously even if you do score here, the game auto ends after the replay.
The garbage time,
Exactly.
There it is.
And there it is. The ball does touch the ground, and Mewtwo takes game number 1, 3-0. Obviously, a really all around a team performance. Look at those stats real fast. It looks like everyone was involved. Got about 5 shots compared to Squirtle's 8, actually. So that's an interesting stat line right there. It looks like Squirtle was, pretty non-existent in the attacking half of play, or they were not clinical enough in the attacking half of play.
Exactly right, yeah.
They definitely existed with 8 shots. They just did not convert any of those chances. But, Bearlight, tell me, what does Squirrel need to fix or focus on heading into game number 2 to bring this series back? Because, they're in a winner-go-home situation now, as we know. This is a best of 3, so you got to win or you're going to lose.
You're gonna lose. No truer words have ever been spoken. So, but I think that you kind of touched on it a little bit, and that's grade A chances versus just throwing the ball on net. Because Vortex 0 for 7 shooting. Obviously, the team as a whole is 0 for 8, like you had mentioned. It was 8 shots on. They weren't able to capitalize on it. Vortex, we say a lot about his defensive play. So the fact that he was taking multiple shots and he was the leader of shots with 7 shots on net, they need to find some passing plays to get more people involved in the offensive rotations. I would say just look for more passing. Look for another teammate there in the zone. Just credit to Mewtwo as well. And one thing I do have to touch on here too is that hey, thank you for the kind words. But there's no way he's like Bearlight. He performs well. The first thing I thought of when I saw my own car making a play like Cryptic makes was, that's not me. There's no way I can do this.
That's not me.
These high schoolers are so talented, man.
It's insane.
Great to see, yeah.
And there we go, an early start
is.
from Vortex.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, Squirtle taking a very early lead about 17 seconds into game number 2. Off kind of a awkward touch there. I mean, that was scored from the other half of play.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that happens somewhat often in Rocket League, right? Kind of get no one back in the defensive rotation, a double commit, not expecting it, and you get a touch, and oh my god, it might happen again. Nope. Cryptic was like, nope, not this time. As that floats off of it, and there's another goal. Roar takes it 2-0. I can't even stop talking to pass it off to Bearlight, and they just keep scoring. But how about that, Bearlight? Up 2-0. Squirtle is definitely coming into game number 2 like, hey, we're not joking around. We're good. We're not going to be caught off, right? We thought we had another 20, 30 minutes before we had to play, but we're back. We got our snack. We digested our pizza. Let's go.
Exactly what happened, right? To convert from a 0 to 8 game, shooting-wise, 0 for 8 on shots, to make it 2 for 2 right off the bat within 30 seconds is incredible. So, hey, Vortex taking shots. He's continuing to take a high volume of shots, obviously, as he's shot early. But again, getting other players involved. Roar stepping up on that one after it went off the back wall with the setup. And remember, it was actually Vortex again. He is doing a great job of leading on the pitch, because he set that up. He was the first one off the kickoff trying to pop it in and put some pressure on. And but 2-0 here, like you said, Mewtwo kind of in scramble mode. It's almost a complete mirror image of what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and Vortex again just beating 2 or 3 players there, even off a defensive rotation. And that's incredible. Here it is, a shot from Vortex, a save from Woozy, and here we go. I mean, this is a complete turnaround. Squirtle's looking so much better, and if he can beat this player here, he does not. It looks like that is a 50-50. That is kind of just a tie, but it kind of goes to the defending team there, to say the least. But this is awesome. I love to see this style of Rocket League. It's great play. I love to see that, defeated team hop back and realize, like, hey, let's not let this affect us too much. Let's bounce back, grab game number 2, and make it, a winner-take-all game number 3.
Yeah, Woozy's going to try to make your words nullified here to try to press some offense, but they're not able to again. It's just Squirtle putting on the pressure now, which is great for sure. Here's Nando now going to try to play it past Woozy, but Woozy able to step up on this one. Sidewall down, but Cryptic in the right spot. Great positioning, forcing Roar up here in a backwards fashion, which is never what you want to do. Being on your heels to try to escape, but he does a great job to get a pass up. The Vortex almost gets to it, but Woozy able to step over, get a touch away, and now it's going to be back into the zone of Mewtwo, and they'll have to begin again, and it's been a lot of that here in this game number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Vortex goes for a flick over there. No one on that right-hand side to follow that up, and it kind of goes to a wasted attack. But still, it looks like, Mewtwo is picking it back up. As we see an attack come out from Mewtwo. Or actually, no, sorry, that was from Squirtle. Getting the colors mixed up. It's been a long day. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
But, here it is. This is great. We're at that halfway mark right now. And 2-0, like we said, is really kind of like maybe a 7 or a 10-point lead in football, right? All you need is a touchdown and maybe a field goal or even less as an analogy for mom and dad or friend that's watching, your player out there competing right now. To understand that, hey, 2-0, it's not like soccer where 2-0 is a big deficit. It really isn't in Rocket League. That can change quite quickly. And also there is infinite extra time, so to say, as long as the ball doesn't touch the ground. So here we are right now. Good attack coming out from Mewtwo right here. It is kind of cleared, and Nando is taking it down the field. Vortex is right there. Let's see if we can get this ball centered. It looks like Woozy is there to bring it back out of the corner. No one there to contest. Oh, there we go. There is Roar that was put back in the middle, and this might be a good shot. Off target there. Vortex makes sure it stays wide and pushes it. And Woozy almost there, just a little too slow. To get to that corner or to get to that ball to try to put that in the back of the net. But here we go, about almost a minute left, and this is a pretty even game right now since those first 2 goals from Squirtle.
And Squirtle doing a great job to keep their playoff chances alive here. Again, both of these teams have made their way into the promotion, or my apologies, into the December bracket push,
yes.
Right? So, so what they're really playing for here is to show off to some recruiters, and Woozy doing just that with a great read off the back wall, and he'll cut the lead in half with exactly 1 minute remaining in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said before, winning is all about clout right now, right?
Yep.
It's about visibility, about being able to tout that title. There is no prize pool, and we designed it that way because this is a recruiting league, right? The prize is being able to show yourself on a fantastic platform all-inclusively.
Hold that thought. Shot on. What a save from Nando. He's able to get across. But now Mewtwo's on a mission to try to end this. Remember, if you're just joining us, we're in game number 2 as they had game 1, but a breakdown. Vortex finds the snipe. And we talked about his relentless pressure on offense previously in previous matchups. We talked about his defense. He's been stout on offense now. 2 goals in this one, 3-1 lead, and it's Squirtle exactly where they want to be rolling into game number 3 if they're able to hold off this win.
Absolutely. After that score from Vortex, Vortex is putting on one heck of a performance right now in game number 2. I believe he has 2 goals, and I think he has the assist for the 3rd goal as well. I might be wrong, but he is definitely one of the better players in the lobby right now in game number 2. He is going to get, that's Roar getting that clearance, and that is just misses the top corner, followed up and puts it in the lower left from Woozy. And we have a 1-goal game with 26 seconds left after that soft clearance from Roar and just a little too slow to be able to get to that ball to prevent Woozy from scoring. But just like we said, that the game was really in the bag. Usually if you're the 2-goal lead with 30 seconds or less, you should be closing this out more times than not by a significant margin. But here we go, 3-2, 20 seconds left. Bearlight, take it away.
We got Woozy up for this one as well, trying to press in to tie this game up. 13 seconds remaining on the clock. Here's Ozgod. He got the assist on that last one. We'll set it up for Woozy. He's on the sidewall now. We'll go up for this one. He gets the flip reset. Can he do anything with it? He's going to pull it right back down to the ground. I guess he didn't get it. And a roll 1 comes out, and they follow it, and that was so hurtful. Oh my, Mewtwo.
I love it. I love it.
You
Can
have
someone
to
clip that in chat, please? Like, we just had a rule number 1 with
gosh.
4 seconds left in game
my.
number 2 of a winner go home situation. They get into rule number 1 and they are like, hey, we are not breaking rule number 1 in Rocket League. And they didn't. I absolutely love it. I'm not sure which 2 players it was. I didn't get a good glance at their
Cryptic
name.
was in there. I remember he was.
Cryptic?
Yeah, because I was looking at myself there, right, with the cart. But he was respect, right? You got to give the respect.
Absolutely.
It's actually a thing in Rocket League where if your 2 cars meet just like this, I don't know if you're familiar with Rocket League, but you stay in that. You stay locked in. It's what we call Rule 1. Although it's a giant meme, people respect it, and they were able to do so. It almost like makes me shake my head like, man, like that was like your opportunity to finish the series, but as they say in the Rocket League world, respect.
Exactly.
Respect, yeah.
You have our respect. Both of those 2 players, you have our utmost respect right now. I obviously love to see it, and that's just kind of goes to show you what the esports community is all about, right? We kind of latch on to these unsaid rules, and like a lot of the times they're so incredibly positive, which is so great to see.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That is just good, clean fun at the end of the day.
Exactly,
right?
and that's what esports is all about, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
100%. Yes.
Love to see it. But here we go. We have game number 3, 5 minutes on the clock, and this is winner go home for both teams. This literally, whoever loses goes home. Whoever wins gets to face Slowpoke in the grand finals just off of this. And the winner of this game not only has to face Slowpoke, an early goal, though, from Squirtle. They're not playing around.
No, you're not, man. They came out striking in game number 2. The same thing applies to game number 3. It's a great pass from Roar. Sets it up, and Woozy not able to get the touch. It looked like it kind of reverted around his car, but it doesn't matter. It still counts 1-0 here. And again, Squirtle doing everything right so far, and now Mewtwo left scratching their heads, saying, "Hey, we took game 1 with commanding fashion right now. It's looking a little bit different. Squirtle's got a little bit of traction under them here."
Yeah, and I really, we talked about it in game number 1. I think Squirtle was just cold.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm expecting to play in about 20 to 30 minutes, right? Obviously, no one predicts that a DQ is going to happen, like, in loser semifinals, right? But unfortunately, it did.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, my God, I was just eating a snack or I was taking a little bit of a break, and they were probably just sitting down to warm back up for their losers finals match. And then, good old DK Drew next to us was like, hey, we're ready for you. And they're like, oh, okay, let's grab the hand warmers real fast, maybe do a few push-ups. Unfortunately, I think we just had a player leave.
Yeah,
Roar. It looks like Roar just left. I'm not quite sure what happened, but the game is underway right now with 4 minutes left, so we're going to continue to play as we go to the players. Like, hey, always, and he's back. All right, so nothing bad happened there. They didn't give up any goals, so that's good.
Yeah, a little bit of a disconnect, it looked like, but he's back in the pitch, and that's something that happens with esports as well, but it's nothing you can control, right? And so respect to all the players to continue working on just playing the game as is, as we are back in action with the full 3v3 status. Here's Vortex putting it out of the zone. Cryptic gonna wait for it, good patience, but not the touch he wants as he goes directly up for that one and actually left it for Nando. Now Roar will jump up on this one and it'll be left to Osgod, who's up in there. There's a bomb from Woozy. He gets a touch as well. He's gonna be up for this one. Oh, looking to quit, but not able to get it past. And now Vortex not out of harm's way for Squirtle quite yet. He will try to get one more touch to beat Woozy, but he cannot. Woozy will trap the zone, and Osgod will go right back to work for this Mewtwo side as they need to. All of a sudden, you blink, and there's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in your tournament lives right now. They need a goal.
Yeah, and it looks like Roar's having some difficulty still, maybe a controller issue, and that's why he disconnected real fast to see if there was an issue with his controller, but he's kind of playing a little stationary right now, maybe just trying to test out to make sure he's still good. But that's the thing about esports, right? When you're in a football field, you don't just disappear. If you do, something absolutely incredible or bad has happened. Like that, I don't know. But in esports, that does happen sometimes. Obviously, not really that much. Obviously, that was the first DC we had all night. And it's just, it's really.
Oh, the side game! Woozy again! He's putting up an offensive performance from a sub that we have not seen. It's barely been matched. I think Cap has had a good time coming in and filling in for teams, but we've never seen a player like this just jump in and go to town. Woozy's been doing just that, and they got exactly what they needed with just under half of this game number 3. It's a goal, the equalizer, and we sit even at 1. If you're just joining us, it is 1-1 in this best-of-3 series for the losers final. Winner is going to take on Slowpoke in the grand finals coming up after this matchup, so please stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still a little worried about Roar. He isn't very active right now. I hope he has, I hope whatever's wrong with this technology gets fixed quite quickly, because unfortunately the game is still going on and we can't really do much about it from a rules perspective. The game has started and is in the middle. So we kind of have to deal with what we have. But here we are, minute 49, even with almost like maybe 2 versus 3 or 2.5 versus 3. We see a lot of successful play still. Oh, looks like Roar's back. He's moving quite quickly now. So I think whatever problems he was having is fixed, and it is 1-1, not too much damage after some seemingly is some technical difficulties, or maybe I'm just crazy, not quite sure. But as we see some great open play here, a shot on net, and Woozy scores again off a seeming pre-jump. Poor clearance here, actually just a great pass off the backboard. He goes up and says, I'm going to finish this. A bump from Oscott in the goal is actually what sealed that. It looks like that one player from Squirtle, not quite sure who it was, had the save lined up, was ready to, just clear that ball, and Oscott was like, psych, I'm going to move you out of the way, let my teammate Woozy score, and now it is 2-1 with just over a minute left, and this is it. They have to, Squirtle has to respond, right? They have to come out and score. They have to play aggressive now. They probably have to, do a double commit or even a triple commit, because if they don't score, they lose. And this is a free goal almost.
Should be.
Maybe.
What a save, though. A recovery from Roar. I guess his technology working now, but Woozy again, he's got the hat trick. He's been so huge for this team. And he puts in a 2-goal lead now, 3-1 with under a minute remaining. And we go back to the last goal, and we saw Osgod score a goal earlier in this one, but there's a reason why he's such high MMR. Even though he's not on the score sheet, bumps like that free it up. It got them in the lead. It's got their momentum rolling, and now with 3 unanswered here, now it's looking like they've got the control, but Woozy has been outstanding as he capitalizes and gets the hat trick. But there's still 44 seconds left on the clock, so still a little bit of time to work for if you're Squirtle. And we'll see if they can get one. They need one within the next about 20 seconds or so if they want any kind of chance. But that's pretty hard when Cryptic is getting touches like that, trying to keep it in. And we're down to 30 seconds now.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 seconds, you got a 2-goal deficit. It's going to be incredibly hard to come back from, but you got to put everything forward, right? You have to throw literally all of your efforts into scoring 2 goals. And Mewtwo right now is like, no, we're going to go score. They're in the attacking half right now almost completely, trying to get a redirect there off that backboard. The ball's going to go across net, gets popped out. This game is all but over right now. There is a clear control from Mewtwo. 5 seconds left. Once that clock hits 0 seconds, obviously doesn't quite end until the ball touches the ground, but now the game is officially over. They cannot win even if they do score here. We are going to see Mewtwo versus Slowpoke, a rematch of the best stream match that I have ever seen. Yes. I'm super excited. Obviously, the rosters are a bit different since we have a sub on each team, but that's your losers finals. We have our grand finals up next. Mewtwo versus Slowpoke. And kind of looking at these stats to recap real quick, as we try to name an MVP real quick, Woozy's the guy.
Yeah.
3 goals off of 5 shots.
He's got to be, yeah.
Like that. He's got to be the MVP.
He's
Maybe
incredible.
not.
Yeah.
The stats guy might disagree with me, but that is an incredible performance. Squirtle, I don't quite know what happened with Roar there. He just didn't look very active when he reconnected. He looked a little slow. He just overall, I don't know. I couldn't quite place it there, but looking at how I had seen Roar play throughout the first 2 games before he DC'd, it looked like he was playing completely a lot faster. And I don't know if it was a controller issue, a technical issue, but sadly, that's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
So, looks like we do have our MVP card up, and it is, drum roll, please. It is Woozy, as we were just talking about.
Yes,
he just kind of took the platform there to go and win, getting a hat trick in game number 3 to win 3-1, really carrying his team to victory. And we'll see how he fares against Team Slowpoke. But Bearlight, what does Mewtwo have to do to win 2 best-of-5s against Slowpoke, the reigning champions from Season 1 in September?
Oh, my goodness. There's a lot that you have to kind of digest after watching Slowpoke. You have the clear advantage because you're warmed up, and I'm sure that Slowpoke has been doing everything that they can to keep warm as they wait on this next matchup. But if you're looking at it from Mewtwo's side of things, you have to have a similar performance from Woozy, right? He comes in he's brand new, right? And if to put up those kind of numbers in general at this high of level, especially against the Squirrel team, is absolutely huge. To do so after being a sub and being tossed into the rotation is even crazier. So to see that performance, it needs to continue in order to have any type of chance. So you're focused on one series and one series alone, and that's that first series. You cannot start thinking about how you must win two. You must be focused on this first one. Take it, and I know it's quite literally a cliche, but take it one game at a time, right? You have to. There's a reason why it's cliche. It's so easy to get ahead of yourselves, and if you do that, then Slowpoke, with or without K-Frost, will expose you. So it's definitely good to just kind of take it one step at a time, and if they can do that, then they have a solid chance at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more with you, right? That is so true no matter what game it is.
Yeah.
When you have a mountain to climb, you just have to get one step at a time, quite literally. One step, one game, one goal at a time. You know, Mewtwo, you have to go and win 6 games out of the next 10, right?
Yep.
And you have to, kind of do that first step, 3 out of the next 5, and then double that again, right?
Exactly.
But we are going to go to a quick break here. We're going to get some water. We're going to take a quick mental reset as these players get to take their water break as well. And we're going to be back with the grand finals in just about 4 minutes. Until then, stay plugged in. Welcome back to the grand finals of the October season of Fall Nationals. You know, this is a little earlier than expected, but, you know, that's kind of better for everybody, right? The player's going to go get a good night's sleep as they get back to school tomorrow, which is the most important thing overall. So super excited about that. But even more exciting, we do have a grand finals, a rematch of one of the best games that we have seen. And breaking news, we do have K-Frost back on this team.
Yes, we do.
And that is completely with the rules, right? As long as that's the thing. They have 4 players in the roster. And, you know, we kind of want to see this transition over time to be more like traditional sports where you can kind of select wherever you want to start from a main roster. And they signed up together literally 5 weeks ago. So they've been playing together this entire season. And K-Frost is, by MMR, the second best player in the league. And historically, obviously, the reigning champs from last season. And he's just a phenomenal player all around. But let's take a look at the bracket to see how we got here. As it pops up on the screen here, you can see that grand final in the top right of Slowpoke versus Mewtwo. This was kind of my prediction from the very beginning. These teams both went 8-1 in Division A, the best division in the league, the best 2 teams by record, with it being weighted against what division that is. And it looks like all the players just signed back into the lobby. So this is awesome. I absolutely love to see this. But first, predictions, Bearlight. Who's going to take this?
Goodness.
What's going to be the score line? Are we going to get a bracket reset?
It feels that way, right? Because you have Mewtwo coming out, and we saw, of course, both of them are 8-1, and I'll let you guess who Mewtwo dropped to. It's Slowpoke, right? Yep. Slowpoke was able to take them out. So guess who's out for revenge? It's the team coming from the losers bracket of Mewtwo. So if they're out for revenge, you might be looking at a bracket reset here. We'll double check and see because Mewtwo has some momentum. That said, though, they're not rolling with Adam, so we'll have to check it out. And K-Frost back in the lineup for Slowpoke. I'm going to say that Slowpoke takes this series. I think there's no way that it's going to be anything different than a 3-2 matchup, in my opinion. It is going to be a great spectacle to watch. So, Tails, I'll leave it for you for your prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Slowpoke, right? Especially with K-Frost back in the lobby. There's no real answer to this, right? This is going to be, I think, really a clear and cut draw. Now, if Adam was here, right, I think, I would feel much better about Mewtwo, right? Yep. Obviously, from the best of 3 that happened in the week number 1, maybe, I'm not quite sure, but early in the season, these 2 teams played, and we see an early goal come out from Patty as they take this early lead 1-0. We know Patty is a goal hunter. He is deadly. If you give him just a breadth's width of a space, it's in the back of the net every single time. And we see K-Frost changing his name a little bit to Sprite Cranberry K-Frost. K-Frost, I am just going to go with K-Frost on that. It looks like, movie. And I also love to see this. Oh my Jesus. 2-0 from Patty. And that's the thing. Patty and K-Frost play together so much that, like, this is not surprising to me in any way, shape, or form. Yep. They, like we talked about, I think, all the way back when we first saw Slowpoke on streaming, match number 1 of the night, or maybe match number 2, not quite sure. It kind of all lives together at some point. But it's that chemistry that's like unsaid, right? You can have really great comms, and you don't even need really great comms when you play together this much. They just completely just know. It's like they almost have a telepathic connection that they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. There's no worry. Gross is going on the side. You see K-Frost back there following him into the middle, and
oh my goodness,
just
dude.
like I said, just like I said,
you gotta be kidding me.
Literally called that perfect. I'm like, yep, I know K-Frost is in the middle right now. Corrosive has the same thought, and K-Frost is like, hey, I'm here, back of the net, 3-0 in 35 seconds. This might be a 3-0.
It might be. The way it's going right now, it is a 3-0 in this game, number one, appropriately. And also, you're absolutely like K-Frost and Patty. Let's talk about this combination. It's like Sprite and Cranberry, right? It's yeah, it's right.
Sprite and Cranberry? That goes together?
It does, man. Have you had let's get back to the game action here. Patty and K-Frost, just great passing, right? That one was off the car of Corrosive, though, on the last pass play, so getting the third involved. But it's up to Mewtwo to try to figure things out, because you're right. It's been dominating so far from this team, and K-Frost and Patty just go to town like we've seen so many times in these fall nationals.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, whenever I've seen this duo kind of like feeling themselves, like truthfully, like they're unstoppable.
Yep.
Right? They're season 1 champs, and they've only gotten better in season 2. Like, honestly, right? K-Frost, I know, plays on a competitive team right now. Ooh, a double touch there, but Corrosive is like, hey, I'm here, no worries. I have that bottom bar. There was a player on that top bar. So K-Frost just came from another tournament where he was playing, so he is warm and ready to go and ready to get this dub in Stay Plugged In's Fall National October season. As we see, kind of a slowing down of play, right? We had 3 goals in about 30 seconds, and now in the last minute and a half or so, we really haven't seen too much action, maybe a chance or two, but nothing clear-cut, as, you know, both teams are kind of just maybe kind of that reverse psychology. Usually we see both teams play pretty slow, feel each other out for that first minute or so, and then we see the goals come out after they figure out a way to pierce each other's defenses. But this time, they're just like, yeah, no, we don't need to do that.
They have commented a great start, and it was up to Mewtwo to kind of slow things down, especially when you see goal after goal go against your defense. It's good. It's good to slow things down. So you're right. They did the opposite, and that's it's gonna be helpful. I bet that they don't love the fact that it was 3 goals that went in before, you know, they made the adjustment. You want to stop it dead in your tracks, because we're down to under a minute now, and game number 1 of the grand final is here. The winner of this matchup, again, keep in mind, though, that Mewtwo's coming from the loser side of the bracket, so they have to win 2 best-of-5s in order to win it. But right now, Slowpoke is not slowing down, for lack of better words. They are actually amping things up here, as they've taken a clear 3-0 lead. Also, if you're just joining us, we had a 4th place matchup finish up, as we see Woozy do what he did so many times in the loser's final. It's him from the side wall, able to get across and get the touch after a misread on the back wall. And he has Mewtwo on the board. It is 3-1.
Yeah, that was weird. It looked like K-Frost had a pretty good weird and pretty good read and a good chance to kind of come off that back wall and save that. Maybe Corrosive or Patty called him off that, said like, hey, go wide, I'm playing the pass to you, and then they kind of just misread it and they were a little too slow, and that's how that scored. But to me, it looked like the defense was set up pretty well to defend that, and it kind of just fell apart there at the last second. Ooh, a demo there to clear the net, but another teammate from Mewtwo does get in the way there. It looks like K-Frost is trying to put this in the corner. Corrosive goes to get a touch to clear it. Not the best of touches, still kind of floating out there. Looks like Patty does clear it. Tries to get the redirect there, but it looks like a couple of missed touches from both sides here as the ball just kind of slows down in that midfield. Great attack here. K-Frost takes it across net. No one there to quite follow it up. Looks like no one there at all as it goes all the way back to the other side. Patty has it in the corner here. As we approach this 1 minute mark, how are we feeling, Bearlight? Do we think they're going to be able to hold on and take number 1 on Slowpoke's side?
It looks like they may take it in game number 1, but as far as the momentum goes, it's been all Mewtwo here for a little bit. I mean, not all Mewtwo, but Mewtwo is definitely showing the reason why after they slowed things down, it looks like they've kind of thrown K-Frost and Patty into thinking a little bit harder than they were earlier. They had a big confidence. They've kind of taken them down from that spot as a chance will come through, but K-Frost's so quick to get over there. There was another excellent save from Woozy, the one that you're talking about, where K-Frost, I believe, cleared the zone, cleared the entire goal, and Woozy was able to step up, which was great. But now a chance, Patty, flick, it goes
someone
high.
There, someone's there.
Now a demo and Corrosive gets through, 4-1 now, and sure enough, Patty goes to work. Great job to get that set up and get the demo, and Corrosive does the rest. Great job, 4-1, and it looks like now at this point, it is all Slowpoke here, 4-1.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, that was Patty's goal.
Yeah.
He caught it, had the control, had the flick, and then was like, hey, this is going to go off the backboard. Teammate, follow this. I'm going to get the demo, leave it as a completely open net, and Corrosive is like, wow, this is the easiest goal of my life.
So even when Patty's not getting on the scoreboard, he's basically creating the goals.
Exactly.
He does just about everything. Patty's been outstanding here. As Corrosive will try to get another touch here. If for nothing else, it's just to keep the momentum riding into game number 2 here. As you have seen in game 1, it was Slowpoke with the dominating game number 1, which we didn't see a whole lot of the last time these two teams matched up in a series, which last time it was a best of 3. But right now, Slowpoke is just showing what they're all about here with a familiar combination. Although missing Zin, they have Corrosive in here in his place, but Patty and K-Frost, we talked about it so much in game number 1. Let's talk about it more. This connection is unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've been saying this entire time. It's just, it's insane. I think even Corrosive is starting to develop that connection too, because he's making very similar plays, just like K-Frost and Patty are together in that third spot. So, maybe subbing out Zen was the answer as K-Frost came into fruition there and was available to play, which, again, just so the entire audience knows, completely within the rule set. We completely allow that. We encourage that because we think having subs is just better for everybody. And as long as you register as that team, you can switch out whenever you want, just not during a series, not the season, the series.
Series, yes.
So they can't swap
within
Zen
the
back,
series,
but you can switch between series as much as you possibly want.
And this one was K-Frost. He had another tournament, so he's coming in warm. But sometimes, if you have a sub in your repertoire, it might actually be a strategy. Like, especially if you're as strong as Slowpoke is, and hear me out, like, you don't really think this would be a strategy, is tossing through different combinations because you're tossing off the chemistry a little bit. But when you're as confident as you are and you have the connection of K-Frost and Patty like we've seen, maybe not showing your strongest hand throughout the playoffs, it's hard to scout that way. Maybe in the future you can look for that as part of a strategy, but again, within the terms and conditions against or not against the rules, in fact used in their advantage. And we begin game number 2 as Slowpoke with the dominating fashion, and coming out with a shot though is Osgod, and it'll be Mewtwo starting things off here within the first 10 seconds. But Corrosive able to get it over to Patty, back to Corrosive. Corrosive with the touch. He's going to leave it here. A shot, and it finds its way through from K-Frost. A solid team play as they go tic-tac-toe for goal number 1 here in game number 2.
That was an insane angle, too.
Oh, my goodness.
Everything about that play, we talked about it earlier about how, mistakes sometimes define games. That's just a phenomenal play. That was a pass from midfield to Corrosive off the wall, dumping it down to K-Frost right on the post, and he hits one of the slimmest angle shots I've seen in a while to put that in the upper far 90. And here's, K-Frost almost beats that player. Looks like Patty might beat him. There are 2 people in the net now. Obviously, Mewtwo's feeling the pressure from the attack of Slowpoke, and they are just like, hey, we have to kind of, just defend this barrage of attacking play and see if we can't catch them out, because that looks like maybe their only option right now.
They have definitely trying to adjust here. Just Corrosive puts on another one, and that's a snipe. Great job to go top left and basically shoot it where the defense wasn't. That's the name of the game, right? Just great aimed shots, and Cryptic again up quick for that one, but still couldn't get to it because of the velocity. And so now, hey, Corrosive stepping into place. We talked about subs coming up big for Mewtwo. And now Corrosive doing a good job to hang in there and fill a spot from Zin and play a similar style of game. And right now it's been all Slowpoke through this series, a 2-0 here in game number 2 as well. Was he trying to change it though off the post, and they're able to recover and get back. Here's Cryptic trying to get some defense, but it's going to go right back in the zone where it's Osgod left to try to defend it, get under this one, get a flick, and they will move it back out. 3:39 left here in this game number 2. Here's Woozy off the back wall, but Patty, it's just a crazy angle to get that save too. It just seems like it's super rare that they don't get a touch anywhere on the field. A crafty one there, and they're not able to get back. Then Corrosive has his second goal of the game. It's 3-0.
I'm kind of speechless right now. Like, I honestly, I truly see, especially with K-Frost playing, I see Slowpoke being the better team by a significant margin, especially without Adam, right? They didn't get to add Adam. Adam is not available tonight to play, sadly. But K-Frost came back in, and it's just a different dynamic. Like, this is insane. They're up 3-0 once again within the first 2 minutes of game number 2, and nothing is slowing them down as this goes for 4-0. K-Frost is just like, hey, I'm here. I'm not going to lose anything. And, yeah. And, honestly, like, K-Frost is having, a pretty exceptional game number 2, but game number 1 was all Patty and Corrosive.
Yeah.
Like, K-Frost was maybe a little bit of an enabler. K-Frost, game number 2 is all K-Frost, but it's not like, this kind of went crazy in their favor. It just looks like Slowpoke is a clear, better team right now. I think, they're...
Oh, my goodness. Corrosive trying to do everything himself. He got past 2. He almost got a 3rd.
That would have been one of the best plays of the entire season.
I agree.
Because that would have been a triple click or however you got.
A 1-on-3. Yeah. Which is
yeah.
basically a 1-on-3, right, to get past a defense. And not only that, but we're talking about Oscott, the highest MMR in the entire league. We're talking about Cryptic, a very solid player, and Woozy, who had an outstanding losers final. But right now, they do get one back here with 2:37 left. So a little bit of a small light, I guess you would say, in a otherwise dark series right now for Mewtwo, as Cryptic able to put one in, and they're going to need to find somebody to step up to it. Sometimes it's a little bit rough. You don't necessarily want to rely on your sub to come in and be the answer like they did in the losers final, but good to see Cryptic get on the scoreboard here, and they continue to try to press back in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's kind of telling. Just so everyone knows, the actual MMR differences of these two teams is pretty minimal. Both of them hover between 21 and 2,300, right? And that's for both sides. So I believe K-Frost is right around 22. I know Oscott is right around 23. I'm pretty sure Patty and Corrosive are 2050 to 21. I'm not quite sure where they are right now, but that's kind of where they sit. And then the other two players, Woozy and Cryptic, are about just over, I think they're about 2050, maybe 21, one of them. So it's not a massive difference by any means. These are like 6 of the best players in the region, let alone probably 6 of the top 50 players, probably maybe even the top 6 players from their age range being high school, which is absolutely incredible to see and kind of watch, because seeing this level of talent from 17 and 18-year-olds is like, oh my Jesus. Ooh, that's a double, triple bounce. And a clear from Patty as it puts back into the middle. This is pretty dominating, a decent attack and a really good chance there, actually. Just a little bit of an unlucky bounce.
For Mewtwo,
But once again, they're looking pretty commanding.
They do. Yeah, K-Frost and Patty and Corrosive have done something special. And that these 6 players, once you get to that level of MMR, like we were just talking about, if you're a little bit less familiar with the Rocket League scene, that's very close to the top of any kind of play.
Just everybody.
They probably see each other all the time if they do queue up ranked or 6-mans, which is another organization as well that helps individuals connect, but than just the regular Rocket League. So these players have seen each other all the time, so they're familiar with each other's gameplays too, which also brings in an interesting and unique factor about this finals. As you see Woozy trying to get something started again for Mewtwo. Although this game number 2 is not going their way either, it's going to make it very tough if they can't get to it. Cryptic tries to fake after getting the flip reset there, and Woozy will have to step on it. Does beat 1 here. We'll try to get another touch. He does. That'll throw Corrosive backwards, but still able to make a touch until he misses off the corner, though. Not a good read. Here's Oscott, tries to settle. It's going to hurt his team, though, as one committed. I think it was Cryptic, and Woozy left jumping back for it, and now it'll just be time to kill some time for this incredible Slowpoke team right now. They are in command. They are about to take game number 2 after taking game number 1, and they will be just 1 game away from winning this grand finals for a 2nd month in a row. Can they pull it off? We'll see here as game number 3 will be up shortly. Another commanding win, 2 in this series already. Do you think they get the sweep in this series as we see Garbage Time come out, finally hit the ground?
Yeah, a 4-1 victory there. And, I mean, you're asking about a sweep, and I don't see any evidence to suggest otherwise right now, right? Yeah. And I don't want to be too harsh on Mewtwo. Mewtwo is, they're number 2 right now, right?
Yep.
Like, They finished number 2 overall in league play, and the only team they haven't beat in the bracket is Slowpoke, which was the number 1 team from league play. But
exactly.
at the same time, I think they're really missing Adam. I don't think they have quite the chemistry that they did in regular season play, because the first time these two teams played, it was very, very, very close, right? It was like a 3-minute overtime game 1, a 2-minute overtime game 2, and then game 3 I think was won in regular time in a best-of-3 format, and that was it was all 1 goal every single game, right? And that was just an absolutely phenomenal game. And this is a very different story. This is domination from Slowpoke. They have obviously gotten a lot better over the season. I think they've increased their team chemistry. They've practiced a little bit more, and Mewtwo's just hurting without one of their starters. So, with that being said, I could totally see the sweep and everyone kind of have an early night because, like I said, there just isn't much evidence to suggest otherwise.
Yep. When you get to an end of we just saw the World Series, it just ended recently, right?
Yeah.
And towards the 8th or 9th inning, even though it's still a super close game, you can hear the announcers kind of just feel the momentum, and you're feeling the fact that we saw Tampa Bay just falling off or not being able to create anything after LA kind of jumped up on that.
Yep.
We kind of feel that same vibe right now, that it's Slowpoke looking and doing everything in their power to get this win again. It's K-Frost. 1-0 here for Slowpoke. Watch this one again. Able to flick it past Osgood, and Patty gets up for that bump. Yep. And beats Cryptic back. Some creative play from Patty. Again, when he's not even on the scoreboard, he's doing things to create goals.
It's like Messi, right?
Yeah.
Obviously Messi is an incredible goal line right now, but
Exactly.
in the last 3 to 4 years, obviously he's not scoring as much as he did in his prime. But that's going to be another goal, maybe.
Yep,
and that is 2-0 within
my.
20 seconds. And this is a sweep. Unless something crazy happens, this is totally a sweep. But going back to that first goal, Patty is such an incredible player that he sees that K-Frost is going for the flick, realizes that K-Frost has the first player to beat. All he has to do is help K-Frost beat the second player by bumping him. And then K-Frost is like, wow, the ball's right in front of me. This is an easy goal. And they score. And that's that connection that we've been talking about all series. That is absolutely incredible to see. That is practice. That is dedication. That's just a lot of hours playing and interacting together and formulating this incredible synergy to be this dominate in the grand finals of an incredibly competitive league. Right? Once again, these two teams were 1 and 2 seeds in both the bracket and Division A. And Division A is all 2K plus players, minus maybe 2 or 3 out of the 10 teams. So just about 33, 34 players with some subs. And they're dominating right now.
All right, Woozy did a great job to set up Cryptic here. So, they're able to pull out 1. So, not too fast here. Woozy able to get down. Another great bump. The creativity from both of these teams. We saw it in the last time these two teams matched up. And although Woozy wasn't there, able to contribute there with a nice little bump there. Try to jump out and get something working. So took a page out of Patty's playbook there and able to cut the lead in half here with 3:49 left. So a good sign from Mewtwo. But again, they need a lot more of that as they haven't had anything to lead them to believe they can do otherwise. But a great job from a flip reset to beat 1. K-Frost actually missing here, so Corrosive having to step back. But a good recognition by the defense to get a bump to free up some space for Corrosive, and he moves it out. Now a chance, a one-on-one, the fake. Oh my goodness. Corrosive, are you kidding me? The mind games comes out. Look at Cryptic, he's left by himself, no help from teammates. If Corrosive flicks that top shelf to the right, he makes that save. But incredible job to get that fake and throw it short side. That is incredible. Are you kidding me, Corrosive? Holy.
That was incredible. And I think that play right there you can see where Mewtwo's headspace is right now. Cryptic had the chance to go and literally be very aggressive on that ball and try to play aggressive defense as we see the fourth goal come out. But instead of going to try to compete on that 50-50, he turned around and backed off because he knew and he really felt that he would be beat if he tried to play too aggressive. He's like, okay, I got to play super safe, right? And in that situation, you kind of have to just go for it, right? Even if you're the last man back, you have to go because most of the time you turn around, you're already beat.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, and Patty scores a fourth goal there. I didn't really catch all of that goal, but it looked like a pretty straightforward goal, good team play. And it's 4-1 with 3 minutes left. And like we've been saying, I don't know how Mewtwo comes back from this, but, we love a great Cinderella story, right? They're down 2-0 right now. They have a
absolute marathon to climb right now. They
Yeah.
have to win the next. They have to come back now.
Yep.
Win 2 more games.
Reverse
and
sweep
then
this one, yep.
bracket reset.
And
Like-
then win 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
It's a long road ahead for sure.
That's like 2 marathons back to back.
What do we say? 1 game at a time.
Exactly,
The first
yeah.
2 didn't go your way.
Exactly.
It's not impossible here. It's
Yeah.
not, especially with half the game remaining. And they've showed some promise on offense. It's just they got to clean up mistakes. It's maybe a little bit too late in our eyes, but we'll see what happens here as Woozy tries to set up a Cryptic. He'll get a touch. Now we're going to try to find a pass, but nobody available. A shot, but that one goes wide as well. Woozy going to step up on this one and get a shot as well, but K-Frost, no shocker here. He's in the right spot with some great defense and positioning, a chance, but Osgood not able to get there before Patty comes across. K-Frost and Patty in the defense. It is so
insane.
tough. There is no room. Here's another
A great
chance
pass.
again, but Cryptic able to make the save here, but Corrosive going to try to jump back in, get the double touch. It goes wide, and right now, backwards K-Frost and mistouch. This one's going to go in. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh, I mean,
Game on. Is this the beginning of the comeback?
look, if you're gonna make mistakes,
You don't want to make these mistakes.
no, exactly right. You want to keep it like oh my bad, like I was off, like my rotation's just the touch. To own goal in this situation, you don't want to give Mewtwo anything.
Yeah.
Mewtwo is that talented, and although it's not gone their way this series, another one. It's on the goal line. They finished it. Osgood back in this one. Now within 1 with 145. I'm kind of speechless here. What is happening? Do you think
That was
Slowpoke
just,
maybe?
Yeah, that was just an awkward thing. That was just one of those awkward kickoff goals where you get there half a second or just half a millisecond really early,
Yeah.
and you kind of know that you're going to hit it one way, and the defender tries to go the other way to be just misreading it or whatever, just a little too slow, and it's 4-3 right now. We have a game.
We do Cryptic with a shot, and Corrosive has to jump up and make a save. And that's what happens when momentum gets rolling. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how it begins, but suddenly shot after shot will come through. But now a chance to try to gain that momentum back. But again, Cryptic up quickly for this one. Will try to get a 50. He does, but it'll be Patty that puts it right back down. And now it'll be Corrosive with some space thanks to the demo from K-Frost. He'll try to get another bump as 2 of the defenders would together try to get a 2-in-1 bump there, but it was unsuccessful. And now Mewtwo will try to play out, but not before Corrosive gets a touch. And K-Frost with a shot, and he'll finish it off and pull them back put them back up by 2. After a little bit of a scare here, they finally get things rolling again, and we see the familiar Slowpoke in the offensive zone. And very important with a minute 7 left, and they're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that was once again an incredible team play. A pass starting from Patty. Corrosive just flicks it up. I mean, really doesn't even flick it, just kind of puts it in the air off the top of his car. And K-Frost is like, hey, I'm here, boys. I'm putting this in the back of the net, and a really straightforward goal there from K-Frost. But the impressive part is the setup and the obvious synergy and communication that is going on still. Even after giving up 2 goals back to back, they're like, hey, this isn't going to tilt us. We're not going to let this affect us too much. Worse, we still know exactly what we can do. They went out, did it, made 5-3, made it a lot harder to come back now with just about 35 seconds left and a 2-goal lead, which, like we said before, anything's possible. This really isn't that large of a lead in Rocket League, but at the same time, it is very hard to come back, especially as these seconds keep dragging on.
Oh, a good bump, though. A chance to kind of set things up, but the incredible intuition of this Slowpoke team, Patty able to get across and read that the bump was coming in the first place, and that anticipation is unreal, and that is the reason why they're here. It's 5 seconds left. They're about to repeat. The time ticks down, and Slowpoke will be the repeat champions by this one, a count of 5-3, and in the series, an incredible showing in the grand finals to take it 3-0. Congratulations to the once Eevee. In this month, they are Slowpoke. This time, Corrosive, K-Frost, and Patty, and they win the grand finals.
Back-to-back champions. So impressive, right? A very similar roster. Obviously, K-Frost and Patty has been the core 2 consistent throughout both month-long seasons as they head and look to November to maybe become the 3-peat.
Yep.
That would be insane. The first split, right? We kind of say our split is the coagulation of 3 seasons into that, final month major. And if they 3-peat, they might set a precedent that I don't know if anyone can ever overcome for the rest of the history of this.
My goodness. goodness.
That would be absolutely incredible and to become a easy legacy there. But we do have MVP here. If we can go ahead and throw that on the screen, our MVP is obviously from Slowpoke, the people that just swept. It is Corrosive. Obviously, just a really key integral part. I think Patty and K-Frost we talked a lot about, but K-Frost was always there for the defensive rotations, always there. He was kind of like that middle connecting man a lot, right? Patty would go win that 50, make that first great initial pass. Corrosive would kind of just set it up for either K-Frost or Patty to follow it up.
Yep.
And that's why he's the MVP, because he connected everything together super, super well, which we absolutely love to see. So, but that is the grand finals. Any last words for the October season, Bearlight?
Yes, absolutely. So we also have a winner for the 4-team N, right? So
Yes.
yeah, we
Who is
did.
it?
So we were able to see it between your incredible run from Division C, Miss Drevis, that he had the pleasure of coaching, but they fell short 2-0. Wheezing able to take that spot as well. So congratulations to them with the sweep of their own as they take the 4th spot and they're on to December. So congratulations to that team as well. I think if anybody's able to get K-Frost and Patty a run for their money, I think it would be Mewtwo. But that, again, congratulations to all the teams in that top 4 as they will move on to December. Great job. Well done. Here's a look at the brackets also. If you want to take a peek here, it'll also be posted on our social media as well. So you can check it out there. But just great run, great tournament. It ends a little bit earlier than we anticipated. But again, it was just solid Rocket League like we anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a phenomenal season overall. I'm so proud of all of the players, just about 140 of these high school players that have competed in front of collegiate recruiters day in and day out. They have resilience. They have put on a phenomenal show, and I love to see the passion and dedication. To all those kids out there, keep on that grind. November season is right around the corner starting next Thursday, or actually next Thursday, this Thursday. Some people say it differently. A week from today. That's really specific. A week from today, Fall Nationals, November season, where we will yet again see who that top 4 teams are so they can qualify for that fall major that's happening in December, the week of December 7th. That is that Monday, and it will go into the 11th, which is that Friday. That's kind of the time we have blocked off. So super exciting for that. But that is all we have for you. Bearlight, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Caster's Deck. This is the first time I think we've ever casted together.
It was
super fun, right?
It actually went really well.
Absolutely.
But I really appreciate you having me every time.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Go ahead, plug yourself. Where we can find you. Bearlight streams himself, has a great following on his Twitch channel. So tell us, where's your Twitch? Where's your Twitter? How can we keep up to date on the world of Bearlight?
Oh, shucks, man. I don't know. So you can find me at twitch.tv/bear_light. That's BEAR_LIGHT. You can also find me on Twitter at Bearlight Gaming. Again, BEARLIGHT. And gaming, GAMING. No underscores for the Twitter, and I'll keep you up to date on when we go live and things like that. And also the amazing things that we're working on here too, like The Charge.
Absolutely.
So, which is a collegiate esports media show that we've been working on too. So keep up to date with my Twitter, and you'll see plenty of news about when that next one's going to be released, which will be this Friday and Fridays for the future. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Charge is awesome. We're kind of actually using the Charge set for our production setup because we just kind of like it. We got some LED lights, some great banners, and
familiar.
a great visual.
It's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But check that out. That is premiering tomorrow. We will be back in an actual stream talk show with myself and the other Charge hosts, Box Turtle or Gray. I kind of just produce and direct the show over there, and they're the 2 great hosts. They are far better at talking and casting and hosting than me, and it's awesome to see them day in and day out. So once again, thank you, Bearlight. To everyone out there, follow us and everything, right? Follow us on Twitch. Obviously, you're already on the Twitch channel. Follow us on YouTube. If you Google Stay Plugged In YouTube, it's the first thing that pops up. We have our new website, eastman.gg, where you can make your player profile to start that recruiting process today, become more visible to collegiate recruiters instantly. And then last but not least, follow us on Twitter at stay_plugged_in. That is where you can stay up to date on all Stay Plugged In related news, when the next charge is coming out, when the next stream night is, and when all the new exciting features are coming in the next coming month, because we got some exciting stuff planned for November season. But that is everything we have for you. Thank you so much for checking out, staying the entire stream. To all our players, congratulations. We're super proud of the performances you put on. And don't forget, stay plugged in.